Hello and welcome. This is your GM in the Great Barrier, broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy. We are back today with Star Trek Adventures Aegis. This is our 22nd century campaign, set in the prequel era of the Enterprise series, aboard the starship Aegis, a Daedalus class vessel of the era. For those that are catching this in the archive, if you ever want to join us live, we air these shows on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. I do have a couple quick shout outs here, and for those that are for those that are watching in the archive, you'll see these mentioned in the panel. There are good friends at the Lords and Ladies of Fate who are doing tabletop streaming specifically. I personally have been enjoying their Monday night Tales of the Solar Patrol, which is a very cheesy sort of like 1930s to 1950s type sci-fi serial. I think they're a bit more self-aware about it. Also, the Cookie Trek show that they do where they break a Star Trek script basically in the course of an hour and a half with a few random prompts and heavy audience input. It's quite good. The other person I'd recommend, since it is their birthday and they have an active stream right now, would be one of my friends from the Accidental Content House. That would be MercurySeas, who presently is playing some Mass Effect. Let's just do a quick recap and then we will get back to the adventure. So, the Aegis, when last we left off, has been out in deep space responding to a distress call they'd only uncovered when they had gotten in particularly close. You were actually on a mission of exploration, attempting to map out a region between Tellarite and human-controlled space. It was a very inclement travel region due to adverse subspace conditions, which makes warp travel much more difficult. But you did manage to detect this ship, and upon further investigation, discovered that with just barely any power, they were broadcasting a distress call. It appeared to be a Tellarite freighter, and wanting to make sure that you were doing your best to help out those in need, an away team was sent over, led by Commander Patel, the ship's science officer and executive officer, also including Lieutenant Commander Romanov, the ship's chief engineer, Lieutenant Eula Shira, the security officer, and the coincidental Andorian military attaché, Dr. John Lambeth, the ship's medical officer, and all piloted by Chief Justice, a supporting character who is just the best. Certainly the most stylish. You had boarded a freighter that was very clearly wrecked. Based on the distress call, it sounded as though they might have experienced some sort of issue with their main reactors, but it was fairly inconclusive. The damage could have been caused by power spikes from that. It could have also been caused by battle. It is increasingly likely, however, that battle was involved, for when you arrived on the middle deck to track down some survivors, you did find one frightened Tellarite who was scared out of his mind, and with good reason, because there are certain felinoid attackers resembling something like the Panthers of Earth that have that are very well armed with very nasty weaponry, and they manage to pull a surprise attack upon you. You were able to fight them off, although the doctor came out very injured after they started using explosives. Not the smartest idea in a ship, and they have since retreated to the lower irradiated decks, which doesn't seem particularly smart to you, but maybe they are better with it for some reason, or just don't care. Either way, the doctor was beamed back, and with the one Tellarite you have, the captain of the Aegis, Colonel Sharp, had given you the orders, Patel, to regroup your away team, get back to the shuttle pod, and return to the Aegis as quickly as possible. However, whilst on deck 2, when you were heading back from the main computer core, you had come across the scared Tellarite, who has essentially insisted up to you that they be allowed to leave as quickly as possible, and you were ready to oblige them. But a ship-wide intercom has just broken out with an urgent request for assistance, and that they are apparently back down on the third deck, the centermost deck, and basically stuck in the engine room. This is where we cut back into the scene. Patel, you, along with Chief Justice and Saral, the specialist whom you have kept as a guest or hired on as a it's a little hard to describe his role at sometimes. He knows useful things, and you are keeping his shuttle in your shuttle bay, and thus far the arrangement has not caused too much friction. um, but yeah, you are faced with with a call for help, and with the Tellarite who's insisting that he leaves right now. We Look, we don't have time for this. The Khazinti are here. We need to go.
Saral just hesitates, just shouldn't we save your colleagues?
You don't understand it could well be a trap. They could be as good as dead already. They could have altered the recording somehow. The Khazinti are a devious species. They've long plagued my people.
What do I know about the Khazinti?
It's funny you should ask, because I had last week sent you a little bit about that.
Did you send me something? Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yes,
It was a long, long time ago in the distant past, of 6 days ago or so.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. What's Patel's reaction to this? That the Tellarite wants to leave and there's a call for help on the table.
We definitely need to get to the help, but you notice Patel is continually looking down at the pipe in this guy's hand.
Well, then I just Del, and you should best head to the shuttle. And as soon as he turns around, I nerve pinch him. At least that's the idea.
I like that. In your case, it is daring plus science.
Yes, that's very good.
And it'll still be contested by his daring plus security, which you really don't need to worry about, I'm sure. Absence are all just doing terribly.
Yeah, I would still like to buy a third die just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
Go for it.
I am going to say, because we are between sessions, I'm going to ask for a second point of momentum to be dropped from the pool. So, Brian, if you could tend to that for me, please.
Yeah, I was working on a token.
I put it together for you.
Did you? Because I didn't see it in the thing yet. So
let me fix that here.
Okay, dropping one momentum.
Yeah, if you could drop one of them is for Saral, one of them is just to reflect that time has passed, basically.
So we now have 4, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
I do not have a focus that is relevant here, I believe.
Probably not, but I have no doubt in Saral's base level competence on the matter. Well, that is one success and a complication. Let's see how the Tellarite does with this.
Not that pinch. That is the pinch of true love.
Let me ask you, Saral, because we have, with that roll, that is one success for both you and the Tellarite. Since you are taking the initiative here, you do succeed at nerve pinching him. As to that complication, would you prefer to buy it off for 2 momentum, ignore it and give the GM 2 threat, or accept a narrative complication?
I'm always a fan of narrative complications.
Okay, Then we shall accept that then.
Half expect him to still get hit with something because he was not quite knocked out immediately or something.
So I think I will rule that you are able to just gesture him along. It's like, yes, of course. Proceed up the deck. Our shuttle pod is right this way. And you nerve pinch him, and he does go down. He does fall into that trap. However, he's going to now fall partway down the steps as he does so, which will inflict a small bit of stress upon him. Let's call that 3 points of non-lethal stress. That's not going to do too much to him. That's only 1 plus an effect, and I don't think an effect really comes into play here. So that'll... He's just going to have a nasty little headache when he wakes up. The pipe, meanwhile, will slip out of his hand and start rolling down the steps of the lower ladder, clattering down. Undoubtedly, Romanov and Ashira, who are getting close, will hear the loud sound of the pipe clattering from the deck above down to your level. As the complication goes, I will say audible sound has now been made, confirming your location.
Fantastic. There is a certain amount of genuine worry in Sorel's voice when he says, like, I maybe should have waited until we were down the stairs.
Yes,
Oh,
you do also have to drag him now.
The doctor can tend to him when we get back to the ship, but dragging him is going to be another issue. Unless we beam him back, Patel says thoughtfully.
Didn't we have some issues with beaming?
Did we? I don't remember.
The transporter was successful the last time you used it. I think that the main issue that anyone is concerned with transporting here is just some slight ambient radiation that has been coming off the hull. But with a firm target lock, you've been able to you're able to pull the doctor out of here with ease.
Okay. I mean, I was half thinking about knocking him unconscious anyway because he seemed very unstable.
Agreed.
So-
Having an armed madman amongst us was probably not going to be very
Yeah,
helpful.
so let's get him to the shuttle and then deal with this entire help situation. And obviously, while we move, I try to keep an eye out for any cats sneaking around who
Indeed.
are famously bad at sneaking.
Refresh my memory. What happened to the other team? Are they already at the shuttle, or did we just like split to head back?
They were on the deck below you, so unless they have stopped to await an ambush if they thought the pipe was a sign of problems, then they could well be regrouping with you at the steps now. I will ask Shira, Romanov, would either of you two have a problem with the pipe clattering down, or would that have would you have wanted to pause for a moment?
Probably would have approached cautiously with a phase pistol in hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still moving forward.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
exactly. Moving forward, but cautiously.
I will just say that as the two of you, or rather, yeah, the two of you are making your way up to the staircase that will take you up the requisite deck. As you make it up, you find the scene with Patel, Saral, and Chief Justice trying to help the unconscious Tellarite that you had assisted mere moments earlier.
Oh, you found him.
Yes. Lend me a hand? Dragging
you-
doesn't
you-
work quite
you
as
see-
well. The feet are off the ground. It's more carrying than dragging, actually.
Oh, Vulcans have plenty of upper body strength. I'm sure you can handle it just fine.
Well, then you can use the remaining energy to figure out how we get the rest of the crewmen out of here. I'm aware of the orders, but seeing it's a stupid order, I've chosen to ignore it.
Did we actually reroute that info back to the captain on the ship? I don't remember.
That has not
No.
happened yet.
That might
Also,
be a good idea to do.
quick thanks here to Overland Gamer for redeeming the Hydrate. Hey Joe, we missed you at the Stabs anniversary this past week, but I have that archive up now. I might have even shot it to you via the Discord, so hope you enjoy, and hope you don't mind my gushing over you and everyone else. All right, hydrated, and yes, Patel, you were saying might be a good idea to alert the captain, if you so wish.
Yeah, I'll flip open my communicator and Patel to Aegis.
Aegis, go ahead. This is Mr. Creighton.
Can you put me on with the captain, please?
Um, well, I would do that, but the captain is presently away from the bridge.
Okay. Can you put me through to the captain, please?
Okay, let me. I'm sorry, this is going to take just a moment while I. Uh, hold, please. And Mr. Creighton will be on hold.
Patel just looks at the ceiling.
Yeah, that's all we need right now is a being put on hold. I'll
imagine
take.
there's a
How about we
Faith
don't
of the
all
Heart is
stand in the
playing.
middle of this corridor and maybe move into a bit of cover around these stairwells for a bit?
It's not even Faith of the Heart. It's a cover of Faith of the Heart.
It's one of those like fake ones where it sounds like Faith of the Heart, but it's like it doesn't trip the copyright protection.
Yep, and there's no lyrics either. It's just the instrumental and like done in synth.
and it's through another speaker that's only getting louder per each loop.
Yes, exactly.
Let's keep dragging our prisoner up while I wait for the good captain to be connected, I guess.
Okay.
And I'm making my way to sickbay.
Oh, not prisoner, our guest. Sorry.
Yep.
Making my way.
Making my way.
Sorry, I keep interrupting everybody's moment there.
Oh no, we are interrupting just constantly.
Yeah,
you should interrupt us.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Push through.
Fair enough.
I am making my way to the sick bay to see what the fuck just happened.
Yep. We'll connect with you in a moment here then, Captain. Before we leave off with this group, I am going to ask whomever is carrying the now unconscious Tellarite to give me a fitness and security check to help lift them here. I will allow someone to assist if they wish.
I would help, but I had taken some damage. Am I still, because I wasn't enough to call it a wound, but I believe I took 3 points.
You had taken 3 points of stress, which is shy of what is required to do an injury. It takes 5 points to inflict that.
So I'll help Sorrel if I think I can.
I can try to fix that because my first aid. Sorry, combat.
Didn't
combat.
you
Certainly
do combat medic last time?
Yes, that was on
Dr. Lambeth. Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah, you do also. There is an option specifically for the character. A ground task referred to as recover, which is described as the character ducks behind cover and takes a moment to regain their breath, clear their mind, ready themselves for more fighting. This is a difficulty 2 fitness plus command task, with the difficulty reduced to 1 if the character is in cover. Success means that the character gains 1 additional resistance for each effect rolled on cover dice, and regains the ability to avoid an injury. Further, the character may regain 2 points of stress per momentum spent. While you are not in cover, I would be willing to reduce the difficulty to 1 since you are not in combat, period. You can ignore the effects as pertain to resistance and cover dice. You can spend some momentum if you wish to regain stress. I will allow you to recover, let's call it 2 points of stress just by completing that task successfully, and more if you want to spend the momentum to do it. How does that sound, Brian?
Good. And Eula's gonna do this because she has the combat.
It's something you actually can perform on yourself. It's meant to be a way of saying the character maybe took some damage and you're trying to recollect yourself, basically, and will yourself through the fight.
Okay.
If you've already... It's good particularly if you took enough damage for an injury but then bought off taking the injury. You do pass that, so you earn a point of momentum and you regain those 2 points of stress. Do you want to use the momentum you earned to go the rest of the way?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so from the you we'll say that as far as narrative fluff goes, as everything has been going on and as you've distanced yourself further from combat, you are allowing yourself the opportunity to breathe, recalling exercises from your Sussman exercises, and as you have that sort of quiet, meditative state, or the calming of your mind, you find yourself reinvigorated and kind of shrugging off the earlier blows that were done to you.
And I do that right by Saral, though not intentionally, because I'm going to help him. He is in proximity to me when he knows I'm doing some Vulcan BS.
Well, you have the Saral has the benefit of both of you being in environmental suits, so unless you are chanting some sort of meditation over the intercom, then it
well,
might
he
be
would
hard.
know. He would know. You know he would know.
Look, Soral is struggling with carrying the Tellarite. It's like he has no time for any bullshit.
You call him the Tellarite
Well, then
fat.
I'm helping you out.
Soral has good finger strength, but upper body is.
All right, Romanov, would you care to throw in a fitness and security roll of your own, just a single D20?
Let's see, my fitness. You wanted what again? Fitness and...
Fitness and security.
I'm 14 with that.
Okay, so yep, no success from Romanov there. You are so enmeshed in your meditative state that Saral is doing all the work, and you got a good grip on him for what it's worth, Saral, and you are just managing to leverage the body in such a way that you can most effectively drag him. Not the easiest process. So you are slowly making your way up the gangways and proceeding towards the first deck. While all of this is happening, and Faith of the Heart's instrumental cover continues to run, we cut over to the sickbay back aboard Aegis, where Nurse Marple, who gets an activation for the first time this session, I'm pretty sure right now she can only take a talent, value, or focus. So work that out as you wish, Craig. But she is busy tending to the doctor when in through the door walks Captain Lillian Sharp, the ship's CO. Lambeth is on that sort of main biobed there. Actually, we can move them over to, I think, let's move them over to one of the edge positions, because there's more active monitoring equipment. But yes, Sharp, you walk in. Lambeth is still partially in his EV suit. Helmet's probably off, and a few layers have been removed around some of the injured areas. Whereas Nurse Marple's tending to him. He is conscious and probably now benefiting from having actual anesthetic in his system.
How is he? She says as she strides in, looking at Marple, and looking at the wounds that Lambeth has.
He sustained some wounds from the concussive blast of the explosions. I don't think he took any shrapnel, though.
At least not significant quantities.
And what I don't understand is why you didn't hit yourself with a tranquilizer or some kind of anesthetic to take away the pain.
I don't know. I saved self-medicating for my downtime.
Yes.
No, I'm joking
All right.
mostly.
Enough. What happened, Dr. Lambeth? To attack you?
Some kind of cat people. Tall, scary. One of them had a big, like, rapid-firing machine gun kind of thing, but lasers. The other one, they had explosives on their belt. We took down. I managed to hyper spray one of them and knock him out, and then the other one tossed a grenade on his body.
Oh, that's why you weren't able to apply any
yes,
tranquilizers. You used it on them.
Yeah, basically.
The feline race, burgundy fur, about she like raised the hand like up to 7 feet tall, large fangs,
Yeah.
has very bright weaponry.
Yeah, definitely bright weaponry.
Nurse, see to it that he gets some anti-radiation medicine in him.
Oh yeah, there was lots of radiation, so I'll happily take some of
I'll
that.
make sure he does. Yes.
Does that want to get the signal, Jim?
Yeah, I will allow for that. The intercom will play over shipwide. Colonel Sharp, please. Call for Colonel Sharp, please.
She'll step over to the Walcom and press. This is the captain.
Captain, I have Commander Patel on the other line, preparing to connect you now.
All right, Crichton, see to it that the bridge, see to it that Connolly maintains a distant patrol around the cargo vessel. Have security maintain a Everwatch for any high radiological signals.
Understood, sir. As note, we remain, sir, at condition red. All other personnel are still at action stations, so if there's anything else that should come up, we are ready for action.
Thank you, Crichton. Switch me over.
Switching now. During the 5th or 6th loop of Faith of the Heart, Patel, there's an abrupt cutoff, a dial tone, and then Sharp comes in.
I'm just
at this point, the freaking Faith of the Heart is like so earworm you can barely register it as any song whatsoever.
I just like to imagine that like sometimes the song breaks up and then you just hear like a pre-recorded Crichton voice. Your call is important to us.
Please stay on the line, although we are having longer than expected wait times.
Our next available captain will be ready for you soon.
Para Español. No.
Hello, Klingon.
Captain, and you hear the sounds of like shuffling feet and something heavy being moved. And if Vulcans were groaning, I'm sure you would hear that in the background.
Yeah.
Captain, we have a complication in the evacuation plan. It seems like there are still crew members present, located within engineering, barricaded perhaps, but we can't verify that.
All right. From my understanding, from what I've heard from Dr. Lambeth, my own experience suggests that these are Kzinti, a feline race. They typically aggressive nomads with usually their young males going off to look for any sort of conquest or easy acquisitions or kills for their marks. Some of them even eat people. There should traditionally only be a squad in that ship. I'm gonna have to be more aware of any raiders about, but when it comes to those still on the ship, I'll leave it to your own command decision, Commander. Just keep everyone safe.
Patel, the sound of Patel staring at his communicator.
You can do this, Patel.
Roger that, Captain.
The benefit is that while they are certainly predatory, most young nomad Kzinti aren't exactly intelligent. They're more impulsive than anything else, if that can help you.
We'll try to keep that in mind, Captain. We'll check in the first chance we get. If not, it might be smart to have our biosigns monitored from the bridge.
Certainly will. Do not enter the shuttle as a change of orders. Do not enter the shuttle, though do approach the closest edge of the hole that you can in case of if you need to abandon the cargo vessel. I'll transport you aboard.
Out of character, I didn't get that order. What?
Basically, don't go in the shuttle. Don't use the shuttle to leave. Just get to the edge of the ship, and I will transport you aboard.
Okay, I was going to say it's your decision, but don't leave. Okay, got it.
We have too many shuttles. We need to load some of them off.
Do we have like 2? It's too many.
How many do we have?
You have 2 shuttle pods and 2 worker bees in the Aegis's complement.
And
Fair
Sorrel's
enough.
ship.
Yes, and Soral's ship.
Okay, landing party out. Unless there's something else, Captain.
Not at the moment, though. I should try to keep in touch as often as you can.
Oh, of course.
Captain out.
Sharp, you cut out the line. Would you be hanging around in sickbay any longer before we had left off from this, or would you be going back up to the bridge?
Is he? She'll go back over to the doctor and the nurse. How capable are you to get back to work, doctor?
He's gonna need some rest.
All right, and see to it that he does. I'll be back on the bridge, and I'm going back to the bridge.
So,
And once I'm back to the bridge, I'm going to try to find where the hell did this Gazinti hunting pack come from? Because there's usually not just 3.
the Aegis is presently hanging out just outside of the freighter closer transporting range. You're probably at a distance of, I'd say, around 50,000 kilometers, perhaps. Maybe a little less. Far enough away that an explosion would be, any sort of explosion or hazard like that from the freighter might be an issue, but you should be spared the worst of it. Your deflectors are in the proper direction, your hull plating's polarized, everything should be working in that way. The ship at least would not be in much trouble. The landing party, on the other hand, has maybe a bit more of a complex situation, particularly as you now have a conflicting set of orders. So, from deck 1 of the freighter, which you've come to know is referred to as the Machdat, the remaining away team members, Dr. Lambeth having, of course, beamed off, but the rest of you, Patel, Shira, Romanov, Chief Justice, Soral, and the unconscious Tellarite, have regrouped at the very top of the gangways. So you are technically, if and when the time comes, you can re-enter the shuttle pod using the gangway to access a dorsal hatch. However, the captain's ordered you not to do that. You are still basically in the best position possible to be beamed out from this site. So there's not a lot of ambient radiation. The only problem on this top deck for you, in the away team, would be that if your EV suits were at all compromised, this deck is at risk of losing life support over time. So you wouldn't want to stay here. As a matter of fact, the Tellarite, if it's a very slow rate, but you don't want to keep him here for too long. The atmosphere is thinner up here, but not completely gone. But yeah, with that, you have a course of action to decide upon.
Do we have like a I don't know, for like a rebreather or something, like some kind of equipment in the shuttle that we could like strap on this guy's face so he doesn't suffocate up here, just in case, like an oxygen tank or something?
There is probably an emergency kit of some sort. Justice would definitely know about that, and yeah, frankly, all of you probably have some working knowledge of emergency life support kits or like oxygen masks that would help keep you active a little longer in the event of decompression or atmosphere loss. I'm frankly sure that was one thing that Patel's mind fixated on during shuttle training or other emergency.
Yep. Good point. He's always looking at the little thing where like the gas mask drops down from the ceiling.
Yep.
Always know where that is and where the little vomit bag is. Chief, can you see to putting an oxygen mask on our Tellarite guest here?
Done and done. As he goes over to go do just that.
Shouldn't we not go to the shuttle? Wasn't that the order?
I thought the order was not to leave.
Not to leave with the shuttle. Not leave via the shuttle. Advocate character, she doesn't want to inform you guys, but there might be a nuke problem, and she doesn't want you dying in the brightness of a power of the sun.
Not again.
Oh, so it's Tuesday. Okay.
That's how I died in the last iteration of the simulation. I mean, what?
Looks back to the rest of the senior staff plus Sorrel while Chief Justice is handling the little busy work. I don't feel comfortable leaving potential survivors in the engineering deck.
I don't either.
We don't know that they are there. It could be a trap, but if what the captain said is true about these Kazinti, they don't seem to be cunning enough to pull off some kind of a trap like that.
Is there any sign that there's the equivalent of, like, Jeffrey's tubes, like a way we could get to engineering and maybe observe it without being directly observed, like an alternative path there?
There might be some sort of utility corridor in this freighter crawl space. I will say that it's going to be very difficult to traverse it, even if it is in good shape and not as damaged as other parts of the ship, whilst you are in EV suits, because those are
and haul in an unconscious Tellarite.
Okay. I thought maybe we could have somebody go scout it, but I don't think that's going to be viable through a crawl away in the EV suits.
We should stick to the corridors, but move cautiously.
Okay.
Scan for explosives and life forms.
It would be helpful if we weren't blind in this situation, though. Commander Romanov, Sorrel, do you see any possibility of rigging up some kind of a scanner system that can punch through this radiation so that we could maybe get some more concrete life signs on this ship? Find out how many and where they all are?
I mean, can we modify a scanner?
You probably could if the two of you coordinate with your scanners. You might be able to concentrate the sensor readings and try to get a more localized scan in process. If you did that, then you would be able to probably get a better read on that. Though, correct me if I'm wrong, Romanov, you have an engineering-centered scanner, don't you?
Yes, I do. You specifically mentioned I had that one with me.
Yes, yes.
And I would think that would...
I was just going to say, in Romanov's case, it might be a little harder to work with there because I distinctly remember from the Operations Division supplement as released by Modiphius, the engineering scanners are not as attuned for life sign scans. They also have an effective range of about 10 meters. So,
yeah, that makes total sense. Honestly.
Okay, the
probably
range is
not from deck 1.
the range isn't great, but couldn't we use the engineering scanner to compensate for the radiation while using a normal scanner to catch the life signs?
And maybe
Like,
boost the range.
just hooking them up together,
Yes,
combining their
yes.
powers, Voltron style.
Yes. You might be able to interface them in some way as to conduct that type of scan.
So that seems like it would at least give us an idea of what we're up against on this ship, and then we can maybe make a more informed decision about whether or not we stay here and wait for evacuation or try to rescue survivors. But that is my priority at the moment. I just don't want to do it blindly. Pull my hand scanner from my pocket and sort of hold it out. How do we do this?
Well, I think Sorrel's got to identify the best frequencies that would make it through the radiation, and then I'll tune the device to that.
I'm not much of a science person. I mostly fly shuttles, but if they're all about, this whole radiation guns and all this sort of thing, can we just localize that particular radiation and track that?
Well, we're trying to see the life signs that might be through it, correct?
Sure, but...
So we have to do is edit out the radiation and then look at the rest of the signal that's left.
But isn't radiation... There's different sorts of radiation?
There are.
So if we just monitor the Kazinti radiation, the CATS radiations, and we know at least where we don't want to be, or even take care of them. I don't know.
Do they have a special kind of radiation, or did they just retreat to the radiation area?
Apparently, during the engagement, one died in the party that attacked, and then the other crawled down through basically a hole in deck 3 and went down to decks, basically, which are more heavily irradiated.
You're a genius. I've got it. The movement of the Kzinti through the radiations are going to create fluctuations in the readings, just like when a planet transits in front of a star and blocks a portion of the light. Can I use the tricorder? Can I adjust it in such a way that effectively it's picking up movement? We might not know if it's Kzinti, but at least we'll know numbers in an area ahead of us. Is that doable? I.e., if there's a radiation source and I'm moving in front of it, my body's absorbing a portion of that radiation, effectively casting a shadow.
Yeah, you're picking up the displacement and momentum of signatures within the radiation. That's perfectly acceptable. That is sound to me, and I am prepared to permit that as part of a task. What you will have to do here.
I want you to make the adjustments for using science for what that would look like, and then I'll program it into the tricorder.
Yep. So this is going to be, I think, reason and science would be the lead role because this is a sensor scan. Romanov, engineering is the definite discipline that would apply for what you're trying to do. I think reason would make sense as an attribute, but since you are kind of working off what Chief Justice is saying, and based on the logic you are applying here, if you would prefer to change this to insight, then that would also be viable.
My reason's better, so I'll do reason and engineering after Saral adjusts the frequencies based on that. His knowledge of science is far superior to mine.
Very well. Before you do this, I will say the difficulty on this task at the minimum level, so that is to say to scan down on deck 3 where supposedly there are some Tellarites still around, you are going to need to roll 3 in order to meet the difficulty. If you want to expend, or if you want to identify possible signatures on the decks below that, it is going to increase with the successive decks all the way up to a difficulty of 5.
How about we're able to see 3 decks around us? Does that work for everybody? That's a difficulty 3.
I mean, I think it's going to be regardless, depending on what we roll, is we get the effect that we get. Like,
okay.
That's how I understood it. So
yes, I will.
What we add.
Yeah, I will say if you want to make it sort of your minimum objective, or if you want to make it your basic objective to detect something below that point, then you will get that effect. If you beat that, then and don't particularly care as to whether you are picking up signs of some sort of momentum past that point, then I will assign momentum. Alternatively, you can get answers to as to whether you see Kzinti down there.
Okay, who's rolling first? Saral, right?
Yeah, I have to. Focuses, would you accept investigation?
Absolutely, that would definitely make sense.
Fantastic. I would like to buy a 3rd die.
Okay, there is 4. There
Oh,
are
you know
4
what?
points of
You know what?
momentum. Yes.
I'm buying a die with threat with bold science.
Very well. I will accept that.
can I assist? Actually, I like the idea of assisting with command because, this is sort of a plan, even though it's not optimal.
Generally, I would put the assist at. In many cases, I enforce the single assist rule, but I suppose I could be persuaded on that.
Okay, no, sorry. I thought I was interpreting this as 2 different roles, not one assisting. Okay, never mind. Then I won't do anything.
Oh, I apologize. I ought to have been more clear.
So.
Okay, so Raul will
not
score.
Rolling fantastic today.
Well, you did roll bold science, so you can re-roll that 0 there.
So how in a gambling mood are we? Should I reroll the 0 or should I reroll the whole thing and just hope for something better?
I think it's only re-roll 1 of the dice.
Is it only one?
For wild?
I will double check that very quickly. I know that it's from
Yes,
what I
it's a single
recall,
one.
yeah, it's gotten more expensive, I think,
Fair.
insofar as you could pick something from the pool as opposed to just your own rolls. I'm rechecking the description on Bold.
It's fair. Now then I will re-roll the 0. Keep this simple.
Yep. And then
Excellent.
2 successes. Very good. Romanov, you may also roll for your assist.
Okay, and I am doing engineering and reason. And I'm all
Exactly.
set for that. Here it comes. And I don't really feel like I have any applicable. Unless you'd allow electro power plasma systems, because I'm very familiar with how power moves around a ship. So I could adjust the sensor to make sure it's not looking at that information. It's only looking at these radiation shadows.
I don't think so in this case. The EPS grid is
fine.
on such a bare level of function.
Okay, you can't blame me for trying.
Certainly not. Oh, make that a single D20, please.
Single D20. It's an assist. Rerolling.
Yep.
There we go.
Well, it's a good try.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
Yes, yes. Anyway, well, Saral, you did still manage to sort out the data. Romanov maybe wasn't as... to be fair, Romanov is doing her part. She just wasn't able to discern quite as much from that. So I will ask you, Saral, having taken lead on the roll, would you prefer to just focus on verifying whether there are Tellarites in the engine room and take a point of momentum? Or would you prefer the information to know whether there is activity on deck 4?
Second option. I want to know as much as possible.
Okay. So, using the filtering process that Romanov is engaging, you have concentrated your sensor scans around the engine room, and it appears that the location is an impulse deck. There are signs of some slight leakages in terms of ambient radiation. It is making life signs exceptionally difficult to pick up. However, with some effort from the filtering that Romanov is executing, and given the customization you've undoubtedly added to your scanner, you have been able to penetrate the radiation signatures and tease out 3 distinct Tellarite life signs. They are getting somewhat faint, likely due to ambient exposure and probably a number of other terrible processes that have happened on this practically derelict freighter. So you do confirm their existence down there. You find that you are able to concentrate the scans a little bit more, and using Romanov's hunch as she has expressed it, you have verified that there is some movement on the deck below. Specifically, deck 4, seemingly just outside of the engineering area, there does appear to be a single radiation signature that is displaying some sort of movement, and there seems to be some sort of slightly different but nonetheless active emission that teases itself out from the ambient radiation. It seems as though, kind of as Chief Justice were getting at, most of the radiation from the lower decks are coming from sort of engine leakages, issues with damage from whatever happened to the reactor. There is, however, something different. It would suggest that the equipment, perhaps, that these Kzinti are carrying are emitting their own radiological signatures. Also, probably you don't want to wield Kzinti equipment for a long period of time.
I relay all that.
If their life signs are fading, we need to get down there quickly.
And Saral, did I understand you correctly? There's only one moving signature outside of the engineering?
That's what it looks like.
On deck 4, I will say.
And we're currently on deck 1.
Yep.
Is there anything in between? Because, we're scanning through the decks.
There's nothing on deck 2 and nothing else on deck 3. There are indeed not even Kazinti near the section of deck 3 that has the breach between it and deck 4. Deck 5 remains a mystery, as do the cargo containers to either port or starboard.
Okay, so...
We should get moving.
Agreed.
Yes. I'm thinking about where the other Kazinti are.
Shira, I think it makes the most sense if you take point. We'll follow your lead.
Yeah.
Do we have any more weapons in the shuttle, or how are we even armed?
Phase
Got
pistols,
pistols.
standard away team gear.
Yes, at present you only have phase pistols on you right now.
Chief Justice doesn't have his justice launcher?
There's no shotgun in the squad car. I mean, could we use
Disrupt the shotgun, please! I beg of you, Zach.
He just pulls out the Zephram Cochrane shotgun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just racks a shotgun.
first off, the shotgun in particular is something I would have to stat out, but I will say the general principle is that since you elected not to bring them with you in the first place, you still can get particle rifles if you so wish, but it does require both a paying the opportunity cost, which I believe would be 2 momentum, and paying an escalation cost, which I think gives me a point of threat. But in exchange for 1 point of threat and 2 momentum from your pool, all of you could have the particle rifles, or as many of you as you wish to have them.
I would love it.
I think it's worth it.
I don't think it's worth it either.
Yeah. I will say Eula does also have a unique bit of armament, because she undoubtedly carries her Ushan Tor around.
Oh yes, definitely.
I think it's way more on brand for us to be barely armed in the face of overwhelming danger. That's the Star Trek way.
Yeah,
It is
we weren't expecting any hostile things, so sidearms only, really.
You guys are Starfleet, not Mako.
I mean, someone needs to start tradition of overcharging a phaser to improvise a hand grenade, and Soral is your Vulcan for that.
Yes, unlike the phasers of later years, currently phase pistols have no effects to them, so they require experimentation.
Okay. I'll take point then as we go to engineering.
We're gonna leave the Tellarite behind, propped up against a wall or something. Right?
Can we leave him in the shuttle?
That sounds like a death sentence.
Can we just leave him in the shuttle? We're not supposed to leave in the shuttle, but we can be beamed out of the shuttle, I assume. And we can lock it.
Yeah.
That is a viable option.
That works. Let's make sure that the shuttle is locked up so that he can't
he can't fly it away. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, knock him out.
Yeah, we take the Chief Justice takes the key with him and locks it behind him.
The chief's just going to go into the shuttle and take the proverbial spark plugs out.
If only Lambeth would still there, he could pull that Star Trek 3 maneuver. It's like, here, one doctor to another. I took these out of the command systems of the shuttle pod. One surgeon to another.
All right.
Lobotomizing a shuttle pod.
Yeah, the chief's just going to just remove some of the circuitry from the control. Some microchips. There we go. Stuff it in his pocket.
Why do I feel like Chief Justice has all kinds of knowledge about how to hotwire a shuttle?
Oh yeah, no, I gave it to him. He now has strikecraft engineering.
Nice.
Oh, okay. You as the player, I thought wait, the captain gave him the knowledge to hotwire shuttles? What is going on here? What's the plot of this subplot? I need to know.
No. The player gave him knowledge of how to engineer shuttles and other small vehicles.
Fantastic. So, Shira takes point, and we descend into darkness.
Indeed. So, let me regroup you guys down on that deck below. During the transition, Colonel, would you want any particular scene back on the ship, or would you be happy to leave let us stay focused on this plot for a moment?
The only thing she's doing is she's now doing like a tight patrol around the ship and basically not getting close enough to be ambushed the way the freaking Kazinti probably want her to be. She's double checking to make sure there's no ambushes before going forward.
Fair enough.
I am going to deploy spatial torpedoes with barely any fuel in it and shoot it in primal or in all directions, so I can have a localized anti-missile defense, makeshift anti-missile defense.
That's an interesting advantage to create there. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that, everyone. Sorry, that was
I don't
rough.
have shields. I don't have shields, and I don't have. I don't. This is not a Romulan War variant of the Dead List, so I don't have anti-missile systems.
Yep.
Do the Xinti have cloaking?
No, they don't.
Such as you know, Saral, with your sparse, bearing in mind so far as you have heard from any Tellarite contacts, these are basically their equivalent of bogeymen.
Yeah.
So far as you know, they don't have anything like that, but I mean, all sorts of nasty surprises could abound. Let's just to set that up sharp, because I think that's an advantage. It's also a moment to establish a moment with a new supporting character. As you make it up to the bridge, you find that, although not with her rifle or other gear at present, you find one of the Mako officers that was assigned to the ship. One of the lower ranking ones, I think, who has been sort of training in the stellar service element of Mako, thus has more familiarity with ship systems. Brian, would you care to describe your new supporting character?
Well, I've got a picture, so I can throw that up for you, because there you go. I'll put it in chat here so that people can see it.
Yeah. So, roughly a rather young officer wearing her hair kind of on a short, rounded sort of a short, rounded do. Certainly not a quite like a pixie cut, but definitely wearing her hair shorter, like just barely coming below her ears. Appearing to be of East Asian descent, female presenting, and in more the Mako style uniform as opposed to the Starfleet issue of the era. So it's more camo patterned than blue jumpsuit, and she wears, I believe, the equivalent ranking marks of a second lieutenant, which would translate to an ensign. Was that what we agreed on, Brian?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So second Louis in Army rankings. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. And who comes up to me?
So that would be Sharp, who's walking up to you now.
Yeah, she'll say, Mora, I need you to start a complement of spatial torpedoes. Strip them of its fuel to maybe 1/20th of its normal payload or its normal flight time, and I want you to launch them in every cardinal direction you can.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Now, to clarify, is this basically a net of torpedoes that would be sustaining that'd be maintaining basically a position around the ship, and that if someone were to try and fire a torpedo,
they are slowly moving outwards. Just instead of like 1 AU, it's like 10 or 100 C instead. So they're very, very slowly moving away. But I'm creating like a net of explosives.
It's like a very slow flat cannon.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want me to do to make that roll?
Well, normally creating an advantage would be a difficulty 3, or rather difficulty 2 roll. However, since we are firing torpedoes, usually that entails a difficulty 3 roll with a threat cost. I think I will retain the difficulty of 3 to create this advantage, but I will not have you expend threat to do so.
Great.
So
So
you will have
security?
control plus security, assisted by the ship's weapons and security. And
Here comes my roll. Since this is important, do you want me to spend a momentum?
I'm gonna use my ship ability or my command, my position ability, and give you that order because I think that gives you a benefit, doesn't it? As captain.
Captains can hand out a extra action. I believe is their special ability.
I thought it's added a moment, like an extra die or something.
If you're assisting me, then you can roll a d20 to assist me, which Mora will gladly take the assistance. Since this is,
I'm just double checking with the. Let's see, the CO assist.
No, I can assist with the command skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
I think that since this is a scenario where we have played it where oftentimes when the ship is doing something, I have allowed another player to also be able to assist. I think that distinguishes it from the earlier assist discussion we were trying to do, and with particular emphasis on the command task, this is something that's happening. I want to make that distinction clear, partly because I didn't want it to seem like I'm snubbing you there, Patel, on the earlier roll.
Totally fine.
Yeah, so I will allow I'll allow you to assist Sharp if you wish. There is momentum on the board, and before you roll, Brian, for Second Lieutenant Chiari Mora, you do. This is her debut, and this is the first time she's used in this adventure, which means she technically gets an activation. You may either take the one-time option of giving her an increase to a discipline, a one-time increase to her attributes, or you may elect to give her a talent, value, or focus.
Okay, and I had no previous talents before this, right?
You did not. So.
Okay. I will take focus, shipboard tactical systems.
Okay.
Because that's what we need right now. So.
Okay. So then you will gain a focus for your roll. If you wish to buy additional dice, there's still momentum. You can also always give the GM threat, whatever's to your preference.
I'd like to spend a momentum on this, guys. If that's
Go for it.
Okay, so give me 1 sec. Let me knock the momentum out and delete it. And let me roll for more now. Yeah, I put this character together last night. I had like 30 minutes to do it. Okay, so here it comes with 3 dice to create the web, and I'm using my shipboard tactical systems as a focus.
And I can assist, right?
I will grant the assist in this case. Also, if somebody can roll for the ship's weapons and security, then
I'll do that.
You got it?
Thank you, Greg.
It's a team effort around here on Saturday mornings.
Weapons and security.
Yep. On Saturdays, we wake up and we choose teamwork. Unlike my Broken Sword game, where they wake up on Wednesdays and they choose violence.
Okay, one success from the ship. That's
I missed that one up.
Yeah. What?
Still doesn't matter. Still 2.
Well, that's let's see. That's in total. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well,
right?
Ignoring Sharp's roll there, that would be 6 successes. So you create the
7. Because
Oh, right,
R-
math. That
yeah.
is how math works.
Mora got 4, Ship got 1, Sharp got 2.
Quite correct. Apologies. Okay, so, yeah, with 7 successes, that will beat the difficulty of 3, that will refill your momentum pool, and that will leave 1 to float. So,
How many momentum do I draw?
You may draw up to 3, but before you do, let me ask, as the torpedo net goes around, is there any sort of additional advantage you want to declare? And I will leave this open to all of you broadly, something that can be derived from the torpedo positions.
They're spread out in such a way that they can augment each other should a ship attempt to pass through them, meaning the net I've created for Colonel Sharp is designed to where more than one torpedo could support a position.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So let me ask, so far as any prospective torpedo or that style of attack goes, if something were to happen, would I think that it would make sense to either very slightly increase the difficulty of an attack, or to allow this to be registered as points of resistance. Basically, I'm actually much more sympathetic to saying since they are playing a possible intercept role, the torpedoes can basically try to intercept the torpedo.
Yeah. I'm trying to. These are designed for intercept nukes more than anything else.
Okay, so I will say that instead of having 1 point of basically extra cover, that you have you would gain 2 points of potential ship cover. So that'll give
nice.
the possibility of
Yep.
intercepting at range.
Yep, works for me.
All
Works
right.
for me.
So the torpedoes are away, and they assume their net as you wait for the next moves. While this is happening, the away team, having locked their unconscious Tellarite down or back up in the shuttle pod, have made it back down to deck 3, where all of you are now on the move, having just cleared the gangways. As I recall, Shira is on point. You can rearrange your tokens as needed to place people in different locations, but you are, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I think that looks good. You've got the nerds in the middle.
Yes, nerd sandwich.
Yeah.
So, you know from the sensor scan, the life signs are to the aft of the ship, near the impulse deck, which here registers as, let's see, that would be basically south of your position so far as what you are seeing here.
Okay, let's cautiously approach this T-junction.
What's it sound like in this hallway?
Such that you are picking up anything on your speakers. It's the same sort of bass disconcerting, like mostly lack of noise, and maybe the occasional sparking up of some system. But this ship has been long, like left basically in a very bad situation. There's sparsely any power, scarcely any noise, any active systems of note. It is just this ship is very nearly dead.
Creepy sci-fi abandoned starship vibes.
Yes, yes.
Like I'm picturing hearing myself breathing inside my suit.
Yeah, I think all of you would definitely have that going on right about now.
Do we hear our freaking tricorders making that pinging sound?
like the aliens' little scanning device.
Yeah, like the motion sensors from Alien.
Yep.
I mean, Soral would also continue to scan so that we maybe have an early warning if anything does cross our path.
I will say that Justice himself is sort of like singing in his head, but he's doing the percussion, so it does make that beam, 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 beam through the comms.
Indeed, indeed. Let me ask. Let's see, Shira, as you make it around the junction, give me a security and insight roll, difficulty 1, just as you peek around the hallway.
Okay. So security and insight.
Beam.
Difficulty
Beam.
1, you say? Any of my focuses apply?
Let's see. Recalling from memory what you have, and when I say memory, I mean cheating and taking a quick look over your sheet. Nothing quite comes to play here.
Okie dokie. Right. That's 1 success.
Okay, you do meet, and that allows you to take just a brief look around. You notice that on either side of the corridor, the way appears clear to you. There are.
You're just making it darker.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am attempting to. I've set it to the reveal option, but it. There we go.
Hey.
Not sure why I didn't do
It
that.
reveals only darkness.
Beam.
Even
beam,
through
beam.
the darkness, you manage to identify a couple proper large doorways ahead of you, or rather to either side in the compartment. If you remember the schematics well, there might be some other utility sections here, but it is unoccupied. There's just the same usual ambience of relatively dark consoles, or smashed up consoles, blown out conduits, and otherwise darkened corridors, just barely illuminated by some worn out emergency lights and your suit helmets. There is also ahead of you the door.
It would be good if we could convince the Tellarites to open the door for us.
And I'm going to assume that there's no like control panel next to the door, or if there is, it's smashed.
If it was, then you'd expect the Kazinti to have just opened it.
Is the door like welded shut or anything? Like, how did they? Is it apparent how they were able to barricade themselves in from outside?
There's no signs of welding from this side. It doesn't rule out that they didn't do anything in their own room. They might have had other ways to fuse the locking mechanism somehow, but it is nothing that you can discern from outside this section.
Maybe we just bang on the door and say hello.
Is there like signs where the Kazinti try to force their way in, or?
I will say that there's probably some signs of carbon scoring and maybe even a few like streaks that could suggest scratch marks at some point. Whether it was left by someone desperately trying to get in to escape something or desperately trying to get in because they wanted the hunt.
Should we just try the manual override? Or
Yeah,
just assume it doesn't work?
let me give that a shot.
All right.
Can I give the manual override a shot?
Romanov, you may go up to do that. I will ask you for an engineering and insight roll as you approach the override.
Somebody cover me.
Yep, Catherine. Just be careful when we open the door. There may be some trigger-happy Tellarites.
Boop. Boop.
Okay.
Boop. 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 Boop.
Justice.
Boop. Hmm?
No booping.
And you said what? Engineering and what?
Engineering and insight. I'm actually going to say this is a difficulty 2 roll.
Okay. We've got. I'd like to spend a momentum on that.
Go right ahead.
And I don't really have any. Although this is an electro power system.
I think that or reverse engineering would be appropriate right now. So either way, I will give you a focus.
Sounds good. So here it comes. Now, when I do it, I'm going to set it to open on a slight delay, meaning I click it into place.
Well,
but I'm giving myself a moment for people, please take positions.
You will note this is an insight and engineering roll as opposed to the control and engineering that I've had you roll previous times.
That's true. I'm not going to try to do anything funky except once it's open, step around the corner so I have cover.
Okay.
So minor action afterwards.
Nice.
Romanov with 4 successes. That will earn you back the point of momentum you had, plus leave 1 for floating. But before you back off, you notice that somebody has tampered with this manual release. It appears as though they actually made efforts to disable some of the hydraulic elements. There's been some extensive jury rigging here, or rather interference with it. If you didn't know better, you would say an engineer was deliberately trying to avoid someone from the outside being able to open this up, whether as a means to trap something, or perhaps as a means to ensure that nobody could get in without their express wishing them to.
Before I click it, I'm going to let Shira know this. I'm going to let the group know. Somebody jury rigged this.
Yeah. As the other half of that, you do notice that there appears to be something very rare, an actual tap of some sorts that hasn't been terribly damaged, or may itself have been jury-rigged into a working status, that you think could be linked up with a communicator.
There's a possible communications link here. Do you want me to try to activate it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll activate. Can I activate that, or do you need a separate roll for that one?
I will, just as a matter of... I mean, you had a good roll there, so I'm perfectly prepared to say that you can just hook up your communicator without too much trouble and be able to do that.
Okay. I'll turn it over to Patel because he's commander on scene, right?
That'll make sense.
Okay.
Just give me the cue. He walks up to the thing, and his voice gets louder, even though it doesn't have to. I think he's got that nervous tick to it, I guess. This is Lieutenant Commander Patel of the Earth Starship Aegis. We're here to assist in any way.
There's a few moments of silence, a bit of crackling. Then, what? Earthship? Is really someone out there?
Yes, we're really out here. And we're going to open the door and come in.
Stand by. How do we know you are who you say you are? Radiation, eroded scanning systems, our own medicines are running thin at this point.
Patel just sort of looks around for a second at the group and grasps at straws and then says, "Would it help if I told you that I'm allergic to cats?"
What's a cat?
That doesn't...
That being said, if you want to attempt to use humor to disarm the situation, I will allow a presence and command roll.
I mean, I said it. I can't unsay it. I guess I have to do it now. I'm going to spend momentum.
This will be contested against their insight and, I think, security in this case.
Lol.
Well, you score 2 successes.
And
while they score 2 successes, you did have the initiative. I don't know what this is, but...
The Kzinti. We're not Kzinti.
Oh,
You'll just have to take my word for it.
I don't have much other choice. Stand by. And there is a few moments of silence as you're not entirely sure what is going on. But then within a few moments, there's a sound of something mechanical whirring up, and the sounds of the door starting to slowly grind open. Uh, just to check, just for placement purposes, are all of you where your tokens are situated, or are you? Is anyone like closer up? I just want to make sure I have this exact for reasons.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I am where I am.
No, I'm about right. I just adjust myself to where I am.
I adjusted slightly once I set everything up. I'm stepping around the corner just in case it turns into a firefight.
And I guess I'm huddled next to Romanov since I was like leaning against the door.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So both of us are utilizing a little bit of cover.
yep.
I'm Mako. I'm not Mako, so I have no fucking idea about this sort of shit.
Yeah.
So if I get shot, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. The door opens, and through it you see, in slightly tattered garb and just kind of barely limping along, a handful of Tellarites coming out. They appear to be in varying types of civilian wear, and all of them are, excuse me, all of them look a little bit gaunt in the face. The one of them walks up to the group and just kind of looking around, giving you almost a 1,000-yard stare, pretty much. Uh, well, you definitely aren't Kazinti.
Is it only the three of you? Are there anybody else?
No one else made it. Another seemingly female presenting officer. I should say, amongst the group, the lead person and the voice that you first recognized, though strained possibly by whatever illnesses and whatever conditions were afflicted by the radiation, but also probably sounding a bit hoarse, perhaps from they could just as easily be dehydrated. There are any number of things. That first person appears to be at the lead and is it appears to be sort of the most grease smeared among the three of them, or has more like dirt that Romanov in particular would recognize as a the tested sign of somebody who has been working very hard at in heavy machinery. Even on a starship, you get a lot of that type of grime. There is an older gentleman among them wearing uh, with a vest and seemingly some sort of case. You'd notice that maybe they have a device that looks vaguely like the type of hypersprays you use, so he could be some sort of medical person, or at least better trained there. The last person appears to be also a slightly younger woman, and maybe closer to like not quite as young, perhaps, as Shira or so, but a little bit younger. It is a little difficult to tell with as few Tellarites as you have met. Um, let's see. I'm trying to remember where I was going with all of this. Well, I'll say that the uh, the person with what seems to be the medical gear said, "It is good you are here. We had almost expended our whole supply of medical equipment. I do not suppose you have a doctor among you."
We did until we ran into some other dangers on this ship, which is probably a good reason that we should leave as fast as possible.
We have medical supplies on our ship. We can help you there.
That I will have to do. The lead officer among them, or the leader among them, says, "I am Technical Officer Thrag, these are Braun, my ship's medic, and Glorfor, my ship's navigator. We were set upon by the Kazinti just off a trade route, and during the chase we stumbled off course and found ourselves in this bit of tangled subspace mess. Unfortunately, I don't believe anyone else was able to make it. The last contact we had was near the forward end of the ship. We were trying to use the deflector to try and boost a signal out of here, but we heard nothing.
We did receive a distress signal, and we also recovered another member of your crew, but he was not in a mental state to identify himself.
That might have been Scrape. He was one of the last ones that we knew had contact here.
Well, we should get moving then. Grab whatever you need that you can carry that's, small, and we should start getting ready to get out of here.
Yes, you are quite right. We should definitely make our way out. And I am going to drop 2 threat to introduce a setback. So Romanov, as you are taking your step away, all of you feel what for Patel, Justice, and Saral is a familiar sensation. The dull thudding of explosives. The difference, however, is that the concussive force of these, while still from beneath you, feel much, much closer. And as a result, they give you a slight jolt, a slight jump as you feel the force of each. You don't quite get a look, but you realize that there are some burst patterns that basically blow up from the deck. They are not it's not a large-scale explosion as if somebody were blowing a large torpedo-sized hole. More a series of small interconnected explosions that come down the corridor along either side of the hull. To the left or right if you were focused in the focused to the port side, and the deck plating gives way beneath it.
Oh dear.
Patel, you, the Tellarites, and Romanov, I think, are going to have to roll me a fitness and security roll with a difficulty of 3 to escape.
Is it individual or like one roll?
This is an individual roll for each of you. Shira, given your position, I think that you would also need to roll, but you may do so at a difficulty of 2.
Okie dokie.
For the Tellarites, I will allow them to roll as a squad, since there are 3 of them, and basically squads can be used when you have multiple characters and you want to keep track of something like that. So, or you want to simplify it a little bit. It's very useful for combat. I believe that the free Red Alert supplement on Modiphius' website actually keeps track of that or has those rules for those of you that would be interested in looking at it. Essentially, it allows between 2 and 6 characters to roll roll 1 additional d20 for a total of 3, and then it scales up for squads larger than that. And they are all going to fail.
Bye.
Yep.
So. Just checking. My focus in explosives not going to help, is it?
No, not so much.
Yeah.
Not even with an explosive reaction?
Patel, you should spend a momentum.
Yep.
I'm going to deduct it.
Oh dear. You shouldn't have spent a momentum.
We can spend momentum now to get rid of that thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
So let me ask you here. Well, first, Patel, you can finish yours. Romanov, I do still need you to roll as well.
Yeah, was that 2 momentum that were spent, or just 1?
Well, it was just one for Patel to buy an additional die. If you wanted to buy one yourself, then you may also take those
Yeah.
d20s there.
I am taking one, and I'm getting ready to roll now. And you said fitness and security.
I did.
And can I apply my Vulcan martial arts?
Sussman is all about evasive rolling and whatnot, so I think that would be appropriate here.
Okay, so I'm going to do that. Here's my roll.
3 successes.
I
Okay.
see that she escapes using Vulcan martial arts, and I kick her back in.
If only.
Oh, yeah, but the Vulcan martial arts assumed that you were going to do that. And
I Sparta you. It has been done. No.
All right. So first things first, Patel. On your task, you have rolled 2 successes with 1 complication. That is not enough to clear just on its own yet. But let me first ask for that complication. Do you wish to buy it off with momentum? 2 momentum specifically. Do you wish to ignore the complication and give the GM 2 points of threat? Or would you prefer to accept a narrative complication?
I would really kind of like a narrative complication.
Very well. Then let me ask separately from that. Would you prefer to succeed at cost here, or would you rather take the, or would you rather fail and see where that takes you?
I mean, the 3 Tellarites failed, and I don't want them to be alone. That would be terrible.
Yes, fair enough. So I think then, taking this as a narrative complication and you electing to fail and join them without the succeed at cost, I will put you a bit further down, and let me just fixing this up here. Okay. The deck plating beneath you gives way, Patel, and you and the 3 Tellarites find yourselves rolling and then tumbling, indeed in some cases falling down to the deck plating on the deck below. You fall to your side, and you find that as you are attempting to regain your footing on the deck below, that you are now presently without a phase pistol, as that has rolled just out of reach of you. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but you had also unholstered your weapon in order to be of some assistance here if someone needed to take a shot.
I did, yep.
All right.
Is it like on the deck near me, or did it like somehow get stuck on the deck above?
I'm going to rule that it is still here. It is it is just out of reach. So let me move you down to the deck. Just as further setting here, Shira, you have enough presence of mind to back off and thus do not wind up going down yourself. Romanov rolling alongside you, just barely managing to make it through. Thankfully, her Sussman training has kicked in, and even with the EV suit, she is able to avoid plunging down to the deck below. But Patel, you find that you are on a very badly damaged segment of hull on the deck below. There are all sorts of signs of things blown out. The let's see, bits of rebar and other like bits of conduit, cords, and all that. Also, Panda, just for effect, can you give me some boops, please?
Boop, 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 boop.
And you were about to think that somebody had ordered him to stop. Unfortunately, Chief Justice is being perfectly silent. And you see, rounding the way, only illuminated by the glow of their equipment and their own eyes, a familiar chain gun wielding individual. so nice for the prey to come to walk into the trap. And it is going to take a shot. Let's see.
Wait, that's illegal.
Oh, not when I spend a threat, it isn't.
Come on, pull a Gazinti. Pull a Gazinti. Come on.
Because this is an attempted lethal attack, I must spend a threat in order to do this. Just aiming down the center of the hallway, so I think more likely the target is this one here.
Oh, the
You
fun
can't
part
say it.
is
You're
my
in
own.
the GM. You're in the GM layer, my friend.
Oh, whoops. So, Tellarite to Patel's right
not a
is the...
Gazinti.
You've just been granted some threat.
I scored 2 successes, and that is... Sorry, let me double check, I guess, to look against talents here. Let's see. Ambush tactics and hand-to-hand combat definitely applied here.
I was hoping for the natural 20s.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so that hit is going to... that is enough to hit with that. I must now roll damage. Stand by. Oof. That is 2,
How-
4, 5, 6 points of damage with the effect, and that takes on the area thing. So, Patel, as you regain your footing, you just barely have the moment to register this as this Kazinti just unleashes a horrific spread of plasma bolts down the corridor. With the area effect, you are everyone there is taking 1 point of stress, so you do get like something that grazes your suit. But thankfully, it is like such a graze that the EV suit's resistance is going to keep you from actually taking any stress. I will undoubtedly. It will send you down to the floor just as you maybe instinctively dive as needed. The other Tellarites are not so fortunate, each of them taking like that one hit to their side. But the least fortunate by far is the technical officer Thryg, who just gets a full spread, and it's the horrible sight of watching bolt after bolt like land squarely in the midsection, each one with its own slow recoil, just melting away through cloth and flesh and sending her backwards, her face scarcely registering each impact as the shock begins to take her, and like the blasts make significant damage, just horrendously burning and cutting up this Tellarite's body. She goes down with a lethal injury. Without stabilization, she is not going to survive the scene. Rather, if she doesn't get stabilized before the scene, then she is sure to die. But yes, now you are in combat.
Yay!
Record scratch. So you might be wondering how I got in this situation.
Yeah, Patel realizes the captain said stupid, didn't have wit.
So, from our perspective, on the deck above, there's now a great big gaping hole in the deck plate. Can we see Mr. Chain Gun?
You can, and you can definitely follow along the from the arcing of like blasts that like just cut up this Tellarite. It is a difficult shot, but it is one you could make. I'm going to rule that because of the difference in decks and the angle at which you would have to take it, and the fact that you are still on phase pistols here, this is going to be a difficulty 3 task up from the normal difficulty of 2 if you wish to intervene.
I would love to intervene if everyone's okay with me taking the first move.
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Right, I will take the minor action to aim. So my Deadeye Marksman talent will reduce the difficulty by 1. And then I'll give you a point of threat for an extra dice.
Indeed. As we are doing this, I would like to note that chat has intervened very slightly by spending the points to
They
grant
have,
the GM a
yes.
point of threat. Thank you, Overland Gamer. The crew of the Aegis always appreciates the intervention of the Broken Sword campaign.
It shall be remembered.
Listen, if there isn't a
yes.
Borg cube at the end of the campaign, why are we even playing?
And of course, I've got handheld particle weapons as a focus. So it's control and security I'm rolling.
You are correct.
Okay.
Can we see that Shira's enjoying this way too much?
Oh, well done. I didn't click the wrong button. 4.
4 successes, which is 2 over what you need. Before we draw that, we'll wait to see if you want to make use of it somehow. Give me the what is it? Give me the damage roll on that, please.
Damage. Okay. Let's spend a momentum to re-roll those 3 dice there, I think.
Okay, go ahead and re-roll those, Craig. Also, quick point of inquiry. The GM was tending to something else. For the additional D20, did you buy that with threat and go with
Yes.
bold security? Okay, sorry. I just lost track for a moment, and I wanted to be absolutely sure before I did anything. So GM, combined with the help from chat, is back up to 2 points of threat.
Yes. Sorry. That's a good spend of momentum.
Yes. So, just so that we are up to date for the chat, I'll make that visible. The initial roll gave you 6 points of stress. With the re-roll there, that inflicted another 5 points for a total of 11 points on that attack. I should ask, was Shira going for the stun, or was this a lethal attack? Bearing in mind the Khazinti did just like horrifically attempt to kill somebody, or like you got sans the you got basically the what would have been the bloody squib effect if this were like
there's no need to hold back at this point.
All right, lethal it is. The GM will appreciate your threat. Let's see. Okay.
Shoot to kill. We come in peace. Shoot to kill.
Well, vertical bracing is not going to do too much to resist that, because that is that only resists 1 point of damage there. I think that I am just going to give this to the I'm just going to give this to you, Shira. With a determined quick blow, you fire off your phaser, and part of this is also in recognition of the fact that he might have more explosives, and it is better to knock him out before he has the chance to actually
He
pull.
He tossed a grenade last time, and you've got 3 people lying down on the floor there. Yeah, he could toss a grenade into their midst, and that'd be one. Yeah, you don't want your second in command being turned into ball salsa.
Indeed.
Do Enterprise era phase pistols vaporize?
They do not. We're not yet to that point.
Not with that attitude, they don't.
They just burn away a synaptic.
No. It'll drill through, and if Shira holds the beam long enough, it will cut through the flesh. Yeah, there'll be a slight burst effect as a bit of viscera and fur and flesh give away.
Listen, give me half an hour, couple tools, we make it happen.
Yeah. Saral can definitely customize the weapon somehow, but that is for a later point, as it falls to the ground, itself dying now. Actually, as a matter of fact, I am going back to double check that stress now. Okay, it is dying but not dead, strictly speaking.
But
I don't like the sound of that. Dead sounds a lot safer than dying. I mean, dying is an improvement on what it was a few moments ago.
Well, it still has slightly more stress than what you were able to inflict.
If you want to go really dark, a dying comrade might cause someone to spend their action trying to stabilize him, while a dead one has no more impact on the action economy. I don't know how the Cassini work, but just putting the darkness out there.
There's only one so far. I mean, we haven't asked. We unfortunately didn't ask the Tellarites how many of them there were.
So can we spend a momentum to maintain our own direction before the scene ends, so we can try to help this squid?
I was just going to say that at present you are no longer in combat. This was the only one engaging you here.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to hop down to the lower level and check on the wounded.
Yep, Justice is going to help out and do the same.
I'm gonna try to get back to my feet, or like at least move over so I can like kneel over the critically injured Tellarite.
Yep. So
can I rig something up as a litter?
You might be able to do that. Let's concentrate. We'll kind of get this done in order here first. Let me bring Shira and Justice down to the deck as both of you hop over. The other Tellarites move to the side. Both are like cowering a little bit, although the medical officer is coming over and just trying to pull something from the kit. Expended. All out of useful supplies. Just hang in there, Thrag.
Can we assist?
If any of you have medical training, then
I have some first aid experience.
oh, lovely, an Andorian.
Yes, well,
that's
that's all you're gonna get. Don't worry. Don't worry. Our ship's doctor's a human.
even better, I suppose. It is. It is not nothing. I guess just do what you can. I'll help how I can. He will be able to assist with an insight and medicine roll here for you.
Oh god.
But you may use your combat medic skill.
It's my combat medic skill.
Also, I believe you still have a point of momentum that is
Yeah.
that you get to draw at this point because you only spent one of those to re-roll the damage there.
Okay, so that's insight, and is that insight and medicine I'm rolling, or?
He's assisting with insight and medicine because he is not directly operated.
Okay, right. And what am I rolling for this medical?
I believe
check?
daring and fitness because you are rolling the first aid task. I'll actually say he finds a useful bit of medical equipment in his kit, so he can assist you with control and medicine here.
Okay, so that's daring and medicine. Got a focus. I'll spend a point of momentum to get an extra dice.
What is momentum at right now?
It should be at 5 points, unless. Did you say, Craig, you were spending a point in order to buy an extra die?
Yes.
Okay, then momentum is unchanged currently.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Okay. That's
That is
not good.
One success. The
Two
doctor,
success.
however, will give you 2 successes. So I believe that should be enough to where you are. I think that should allow you to succeed on this. I am rechecking that task just one more time. Let's see. Okay, so daring and medicine with a difficulty of 1. Okay, so the success means that the injured character is stabilized and will not die at the end of the scene, but they remain incapacitated. The character may spend 2 momentum from this to get the patient back into the fight right away, exactly as if they'd spent determination to ignore the injury. So you could, you do have enough to stabilize. You could use momentum in order to get her walking, basically.
I mean,
Do we want to do that, or do we want to try to beam them out of there?
we are deep in radiation. I don't know if the beaming through this will be fun.
I think we need to get her in a condition where she can move. Because even if we could beam down the slow with the radiation and the subspace interference, it might be very risky.
Okay. Well, I'll try to get her up then.
We're gonna spend the momentum.
Yep. It would
Yep.
only be 1 out of your pool since the doctor gave you the extra success.
Yep. Okay.
All right, Brian, drop 1 more.
Drop 1 more.
Yeah, so Shira, with what training you have and with whatever supplies you have between you and the Tellarite, it is a painful few minutes. At such such time that as you notice the Tellarites are anxiously looking over the work you do, and the medic is trying to patch up her wounds as best as he can. He's got like the equivalent of some sort of dermal regenerator, which is working much slower than what you would expect from a device on like in Dr. Lambeth's care. Tellarite and human medical technology aren't too far apart, so you're kind of left to wonder about the deficiencies there. But with a few minutes of first aid work and like basically cauterizing or like restoring some wounds, trying to seal up some of the like most critically affected organs as much as possible, he says, I think she might be stable enough. Thrag, are you with us? I, I think so. What? Oh, God, I don't suppose, Ron, you have anything left. Ah, we are out of anesthetic and, well, we've been out of the good brandy for a few days. Pity.
Important question. How many Kazinti got on board your ship?
Oh, there were. Oh, I don't remember. The one who has spoken the least, the younger one named Glorifor, will jump in here. Uh, there were roughly when the well, we first encountered a larger ship, but they left behind a raiding detail we were just able to pick up. I want to say of their original complement, there were maybe 5 to start off with. We managed to get the jump on a couple of them, but the cost for that, we lost a lot of people that way. Captain went down with one of them, and 2 others. It was pretty ugly.
So as far as you know, you killed 3 of them?
I only know of 2 that were dead.
And we've killed 2 ourselves. There's 1 unaccounted for.
Nope. Add a character. One dude accidentally killed himself from the grenade.
Yes.
No,
we
you encountered 2 in the...
killed.
Yeah. Well, I guess
That's
all
what...
you're correcting is your own body count.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's 1 unaccounted for.
No, it's all 3. We...
They claimed 5 boarded.
There came 5 boarded, we killed 3.
No.
So let's go back and run the score tally, shall we? You encountered 2 earlier. The out of that group, one of them was blown up, more so by his own buddy and his own grenade that went off as a secondary explosive. The Tellarites, so far as they know, have killed 2 of them. So 3 of them are dead from that, and then you just lethally injured a 4th one, which means 1 more remains.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
out of character. I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
I thought one jumped and attacked, and then the guy got like anesthesia. The other dude grenaded and ended up blowing himself up.
No, the guy who grenaded, he accidentally blew up the guy who was anesthetized.
Yeah, but I
Oh,
thought he killed himself too.
No,
he
he retreated.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the chain gun wielding guy who we just killed.
Yep.
All right.
So
My
there's one unaccounted for.
Yeah, I thought the chain gun guy was completely different.
Right,
all right.
I'm going to call up to Sorol and Alaska. Stay on alert. There's still another one around.
Understood. That's when I turn around and look at Takazinti.
Got it. I'll cover one direction, Sorol can cover another.
Yep. Sorrel, you turn around, the other one's like, one more of what? What are we looking for today?
I just would love the idea of having an entire conversation before anyone realizes that they're not talking to one of their mates.
Yep.
One of the rats has escaped.
Oh. I mean, they're all down there. One grenade, that should do the trick. Take them all out.
Wait a moment.
Eep. Just gas cloud, cloud of, or puff of smoke as it runs away.
If you're chasing Roadrunner, I'm out. Because Sorrel is definitely Coyote.
If that one dies, I do need a bit of salt. They're not that very tasty. Eating the freaking Tellarite arm.
No. Yep. It's like, no, wait, guys, I was just getting a snack. What did I miss?
Oh no.
Anyway, yeah, so at this point, quickly looking at your surroundings, so immediately to the right of you, there is, that way is kind of blocked off, the way that would take you back to the center in the most convenient way. There are some gaping holes of, blown out conduit and, glowing beneath it, which suggests possible plasma leakages. There's also large parts of where the deck plating has come down that blocks your way. You might even be able to make out there's bulkhead doors have sealed, so trying to return the most direct route would not be optimal. There is an open way to your left that would take you alongside the ship. The transporter, while maybe a bit difficult, is a possibility to get you out of here. I think I would allow that to be just one roll for all of you that wanted the beam out, if you take that way.
We should, at the very least, get the Tellarites off.
Okay. Guess click on the communicator again. Aegis, the landing party.
I'm having trouble reading you, sir. This is Aegis. Go ahead, Commander Patel.
We found survivors. One of them is heavily injured. We need, at least for them, emergency beam out if possible.
Attempting to relay lock. Should I? We can try to lock on the survivors. Can you try to boost the signal at all?
Can I? We all have communicators, right?
Yes.
Can I just have them huddle in a group and hug my communicator and just say lock onto my communicator? Is that a thing in this era?
I think that the transporter room could work with that.
Can we invent signal boosters? On the spot?
I mean, fully rigging that up might be more of a task. I think that are you thinking transporter enhancers?
Yeah, but I'm trying to techno-babble my way through it, and I'm coming up blank at the moment. So we don't have much to to play with here.
I'm
I
not
think
certain.
pattern enhancers are probably something you'll have to
Pattern
raise.
enhancers. Thank you. Just looking for that word.
I don't think that'll quite be as workable. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I will go ahead and have the transporter NPC roll. Patel, since this is your request here, I think that here I would say if you want to assist with presence and command, then I would allow you to make that roll. And I will, let's see, I think I'm going to add, technically the NPCs work off slightly different roles, but in this case I'm going to give them a talent here to help out, specifically cautious engineering, so that they can be certain that the transporter goes well, particularly if you would like them to spend momentum for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I roll a presence command? Who's rolling presence command?
That would actually be Patel, since he is giving the order in this situation. It will also...
Nice.
Yeah, just to double check, we're okay with momentum for the NPC for transporter usage?
Yep.
Okay. So Brian, if you could drop 1 point of momentum, and then if somebody can get the ship, this would require sensors and engineering, I believe, for the transporter task.
If we succeed hard enough, can we just all beam out?
You could.
Oh, sorry, sir. I accidentally beamed all of you.
Including the Tellarite on the shuttle. Can't forget him.
Hey, the ship came through.
I'll allow everybody on deck 4 to help out, or to be beamed up, leaving Saral, Romanov, and the Tellarite on the shuttle pod.
I would not agree to leave them behind.
Yeah,
even
same.
if it is just
just Saral.
Even if one of them
plain and simple Saral.
Hey, look, Saral, you're being freed from your duties now.
Anyway, the ship came through with 2 successes there.
Listen, if you want to face off next season against Saral leading a Khazinti crew, that's on you. That's entirely on you. I'm going full. What was the David Bowie guy in our first game?
Oh, I think that you are thinking of Captain Alias Cooper.
Yes, Cooper. I'm going full Cooper on you.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm down if you are.
No.
The good old days of the 24th century Tegalar compact.
I've had enough of pirate nonsense for a while, so.
Yep.
Well, you might have to clear that with your captain.
Yeah. Anyway, so anybody who wishes to be beamed out from the from deck 4, where the Tellarites are, may also go up with them. The rest of you can either elect to try and climb back up or be assisted by your compatriots on deck 3 and then take the shuttle pod back, or you may be or you can go around the long way. Let me run this through for each of you. Patel, real quick. Beam out, climb, or long way.
Either climb or long way, whichever Eula and Justice are doing.
Okay. Justice, Shira?
I am staying here.
Okay. So, taking going through the freighter. Justice, would you want to be part of the beam out, or would you be sticking back?
I'm too cool to just run. I'll join. I'll keep to my superior officers.
The pilot beaming out would be kind of funny, though.
Yep.
All right, peace.
Yep.
Peace out for the next mission.
Yeah, just flips you off and disappears. But no, the Tellarites will huddle around the communicator, and the sort of staticky particle effect will take hold of them as the transporter beam intersects, and there you see them phase into the bluish white particles that collapse in on themselves and kind of like go that slight staticky bit, if you think of like the effect from Star Trek Beyond, I suppose, and they will disappear into that like centered bit of light as their matter is deconstructed and sent through a particle stream back along to to the Aegis.
Did
and
we
it
get
is
any
worth
momentum from that roll?
Yes. So that would have been because you were beaming from a location without a transporter pad to one with a pad. That would have been a difficulty 3 roll. The radiation did add a 4th point, or rather increase difficulty by 1. But between the 3 successes from the NPC, Chief Jemison, the ship's 2 successes, and Patel's command order adding a success, you get 2 points of momentum back.
Woo!
So, yeah. As, I guess, situating the tokens as they are, Patel, you and Justice have closed a little bit with the downed Kazinti. Patel, you find your phase pistol, I should say, that had slid it just out of reach when you initially came down.
Double check that it is still set on stun.
It is. You pick it up and find it is still in working order.
Maybe step away from that Kazinti. He did have explosives on him.
Ooh, good point.
He has a hole through him. I think he's. Oh shit!
Sounds like his life.
Yep.
He just runs back.
Bit too much for me. I guess I don't get my name today. He tries to move an arm, but it won't respond. He just can barely kind of shrug a shoulder. Good catch, prey. Not so lucky though with this next one, I think. And as a deep purplish red kind of liquid stains its teeth, it just draws its mouth, the corners of its mouth, and as high as it could, giving you a ghastly sort of smile as the light vanishes from its eyes.
Let's get back up to the next deck.
Don't have to tell me twice.
Yep.
Look up at the hole in the deck above us. Does it look like we can either climb up or use some of this debris to make a ramp or something?
It's possible, and I mean, with Saral and Romanov on the deck above you, I think that could easily be arranged. I would give you the option, I suppose, if you like. We could make this Romanov and Saral creating an advantage, where they, with a difficulty 2 roll, they kind of jury-rig some sort of system for you to get back up, and allow it so that you can climb up without having to engage in a difficult task.
Lieutenant, do you see a need to do any more exploration of this deck? Otherwise, I would really like to just get the hell out of here.
Sure.
It has no tactical value.
Excellent.
So what do we do? Just roll a check, or we just spend momentum to create an advantage?
You could either roll or spend the 2 momentum to create that advantage. If you elect to make the task here, I'm going to say it's daring and engineering, and that it would be difficulty 2.
I think I can hit that. That way we leave our 2 points of momentum.
And maybe earn a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to support.
Yeah, please do. I'm going to go ahead and...
Alright, Romanov rolls 2 successes, which is enough to meet. Saral, you may assist if you wish.
Would you accept the focused troubleshooting?
I don't think so
Probably
in this
not.
case.
No, it's probably not.
It's a good try. Okay, Saral gets you back a point of momentum, and the 3 of you are able to carefully, one at a time, start making your way back up the deck. And I will just allow for you to start making a run for the gangways from here as you try to breach this as quickly as possible. Let's see. Now, just real quick, I noticed we are just a little shy of what is 3:30 for me, so if we were to go out for our full amount of time, that would be a half hour. It is conceivable we could get through what is left in this session with what we have here, but there is the risk that things may go a bit longer. So let me take just a quick check around the horn here. Would you prefer to? Would you want to maybe finish it on a slight cliffhanger here, or would you prefer to go ahead and try to finish it out?
I'm happy to keep going.
Same.
Yeah.
It's my birthday weekend, so I am up for chilling and finishing this out.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, and I'm happy to keep going.
Happy.
I'd say happy birthday to you, but that would be a experience that would scar you for life.
Yeah,
It
Yeah, we
might
want
also
to
get copyright claimed and shut down the video.
yeah, it would totally would. No, my birthday's on Monday, but yeah, for all you, aside from Zach, like we have no other Americans in here, huh? Except for myself.
Brian
Hello.
Oh, Brian.
and Drone. He
Oh.
lives in Germany, I think.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
somewhere
no,
Central Europe.
like I'm living in America because I am so awesome. We get a vacation every single time.
Nice.
Memorial Day. So. Yep.
Nice.
Anyway, so point is, yeah, I have lost my train of thought here.
I'm sorry.
All right, yeah. So then let's just set this up. The three of you are helped up by Romanov and Saral, and you start making your way back up, back outside the Aegis, back outside the freighter rather. The Aegis on patrol around the location is just waiting for word. As the away team is making their way back up the deck. Reports are coming intermittently, reporting, like Crichton lets them know, sirs, the away team have made it to sick bay. Nurse Marple reports that she has Dr. Lambeth back up in stable condition and able to do what he needs to in case of more medical assistance. Basically, narrative way to say, Ben, you can be more active in this if you so wish. But I won't. We won't force Lambeth out of a bed.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good. Any sign? Any pings from our drones?
Nothing yet.
Probes.
Nothing yet. Ensign Stewart says. It seems like the warp probe hasn't detected anything. I'm not reading anything on my sensors. Our torpedoes are continuing at a slow route. They're still presently on close range. As she says this, suddenly the board lights up. Energy signature detected. There's something just blew out a part of the cargo pod on the lower port end of the freighter. Trying to get it locked now.
More aim for the engines.
So Brian, that'll be your character here in a moment.
Yeah.
It's very tricky as it's constantly moving around. Connolly says, "Thing looks like it's trying to break at a pretty high course away from that thing."
Pursue course, Connolly.
Aye, sir. Taking us in. I can close us to thrusters and be on top of it in pretty short order.
Is this control and security?
Well, if you take a shot, it will be control and security. I think the first order is to Connolly to engage thrusters. I'm going to say for him that's going to be control and con, assisted by the ship's engines and con. It does not consume power because you're just using maneuvering thrusters. But if somebody would like to roll for the ship, they may do so for engines and con.
If somebody wants to roll that, because I'm about to.
Yep, and then let me just...
Engines and con?
Yes.
Nothing.
Okay, well, Connolly is at least going to be able to keep pace. We'll have intercept shortly. We are entering close range here, sir. Steward is going to try to take one thing. So, Craig, if I can ask you for one more roll, sensors and science, please.
Sensors and science. 1.
Okay, and Steward will roll 1 as well. Some sort of small craft, configuration unknown. Weapon system's hard to parse out. It looks like it might have some sort of energy emission system. Very erratic engine movements. And geez. Captain, I'm detecting an energy buildup in those engines. They're redlining them or they're deliberately going to overload them. That thing might.
Back us off, Connolly.
Backing us off. Connolly just reverses and pulls back, and before you are even able to get a full target lock on the thing, Mora,
It blows.
Yep, that craft goes up in a bright flash as the ship's fusion reactors are let loose, just creating an absolute blinding energy signature on your sensors.
Look over at the captain. Well, I didn't even need to take the shot.
Yeah. Steward's like, I don't understand. They could have tried to warp away. Why would they do that to themselves?
Steward, how bright or how overwhelming is that detonation? Can that be seen at any sort of capacity with long-range sensors?
She'll make eye contact with you for just a moment, and then you'll see the color drain from her face. Yeah. Rechecking numbers now. If anyone's got subspace sensors looking at subspace right about now, and they're anything anywhere from a light year out, then I'd say that's a pretty good chance of that.
Connolly, turn us around. Switch to impulse. We're getting out here. Pick up Shilgamora, or who's for transporter? No, she'll just inform transporting room. She'll switch over to transport room. Transport room. I want you to quickly grab the team the moment you see them on detection.
Okay, I mean the team's made it. Sounds like they've made it up to, or based if I'm getting these sensor readings right, they're already up to the top deck now and preparing to board the shuttle. They're all close, but that's a lot of transporter signatures to try and bring up in one go here, Captain.
As quickly as you can.
Oh, I'll go ahead and let them know, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Transport away team, this is Aegis. Prepare for emergency beam out.
Understood. Pazelle says confusedly, I guess.
Don't forget the Tellarite in the shuttle.
Alright, so with your permission, guys, one more point of momentum for the transporter chief to affect what is going to be the complicated, as Mr. Scott would say, that is reboot Scott, Scotty. I've never beamed half a dozen targets from 2 places onto one transporter pad before.
Is this our Tuvix moment? Oh my god.
Only if he rolls a complication, and only if the value comes into play.
Who gets Soral? Who is the lucky winner?
So pointed ears, antenna, pig snout. We get everything.
Let's see. That is only 1 point of success from Jemison, so that'll be. I'm going to ask somebody roll the ship's sensors and engineering, please.
I mean, if we would combine Soral and Shira, would be the perfect entity to bring peace to the quadrant.
Oh,
nothing from that. So
let's see. Thankfully, first it occurs to me that I used cautious engineering for this engineer. Before that happens, I'm going to invoke the value, are you sure these are the right coordinates, and allow them to re-roll the ship and 2 of Jemison's d20s. That brings it up to 1 success on my end. Craig, if you would roll the ship die one more time, please.
Yep. Hey, that's 1.
There we go.
Right. And now cautious engineering can take an effect and re-roll that last 0. Oh no!
God damn it. We'll take
We
a
don't-
threat. We'll take threat.
Okay, ignoring the complication and giving the GM threat. So that was 3 successes plus a complication which has been ignored, thus allowing the GM to take 2 points of threat. So, with some complicated effort, the GM is, or rather, the transporters start running away. I am going to say, go ahead and whoever's in the ship right now, drop a point of power because of the heavy transporter use here.
Drop in a point of power. Where is the power thing? Oh, there it is. Power. Current 5. Jeez, we only got 6 power total. Wow. Okay.
All right, and let's see. Crichton continues reports. We have the first group, second one. All right, Captain, I can report now. The Tellarites are all on board, sir. We should have the full group on our on board the ship now. All that's left is the shuttle pod there, as far as anything to recover.
What the fuck happened there?
The
It divided by 0.
What on earth? How
The-
do
the
you
red
get a
zeros
success on that?
red zeros shouldn't apply to that. I'm calling it the ship sheet being slightly broken.
It is.
Well, one of them
because
is a
it has-
20.
because it's trying to go greater than 0. So it's botching. It's auto botching.
Yeah. The rolls there are in fact, and I will display this for chat as well. That is a 10, that is a 6, and the 0 is a 16, which is not enough to complicate here.
Yeah.
And just for good measure, because there would have been a command order involved here. Let's see. Okay, 3 successes.
Hey, and it didn't light up red.
Yep. Well, that is because that was a proper full NPC sheet there. In that moment, Stewart says, "Wait, no, sensor contact, Captain. It's coming faster. I didn't even see it at long range. Something just dropped out of warp. Distance 40,000 kilometers.
Time
That
for us
is-
to go.
That is
Conley?
effectively right on top of you, or that is considered in close range."
Yeah.
Trying to get us out of here, Captain. And I am going to spend the threat necessary to keep the advantage as the ship begins to close the distance, and I'm going to move us over to the proper combat screen here. Stand by. All right, so we are now here in the battle grid. Where-
Grid, yay.
Yep, the Aegis is in what is relatively close distance for the freighter, when all of the sudden, let's see, just opening it up, this ship appears within close range of the within close range to you, and they are going to get off an attack. So control, security. Oh wait, that's because it's automatically the crew just rolling. I only pick the weapon and subsystem. Weird thing about the new NPC sheets. So let's see.
But
That
you're
is
still
an
broken.
18 and a 4. Yep,
Yep.
it's just we're just gonna have to deal with that. 19. So they are. I think that in this case, I may elect to. I think I'm going to elect to succeed at cost, but I'm going to have part of that cost be that they only do half their effective damage here. So they are going to expend power to attack here. Stand by.
Keep in mind we have our advantage defense
Yes.
with the
Well,
net.
that would be if they were using torpedo weaponry. They are not. Instead, a bluish-white burst of... Oh, that is not correct at all. That should be at least one more challenge die there, so I apologize. I'm just going to roll that. Actually, wait, I wasn't rolling to attack with the free electron cannon anyway. That was a different stat here. Okay, that's properly working now. So
Wish it wasn't.
yeah, pity. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. With the I'll round it down to 4 for your purposes here. So, and only count one of those effects. So that is going to be, oh no, the effects should remain as they are. So with each blast, those 4 shots are going to, the 4 shots will hit you. There will be a noticeable bit of flickering with the lights as it deals the full 4 points to your hull plating. Actually, I think with polarized hull plating, that is still enough to cause a breach technically. Yeah, because that's shields are 5 points, but hull plating is slightly less. All right, so let's see.
Good old ancient technology.
Yep. Let me.
Archaic.
Yep, let me roll and see what system that is going to disrupt. I have an 8, so based
Do
on
not
my...
be the warp core. Do not be the warp core.
I'm pretty sure that is not the engines, but I am verifying just to check. I have... Okay, past these. Just reviewing my damage element here. Okay. 8 is actually going to be a breach to sensors. So the impact will that will register as an impact on the sensor system. So the bursts are going to hit along the they're going to basically rake across the back of the hull as they come out from around you, and they are going to kind of arc in such a way where they are kind of rolling around you. They swoop in from the dorsal axes and they fly like kind of around a starboard. You could imagine basically a barrel roll type setup where they are the proper sort of barrel roll and not the just tipping like end over end from your wings as say Star Fox would depict it. But the last set of blasts do hit the ventral section of the circular or the spherical primary hull and cause a bit of a short on that location. So Steward says, Captain, I've lost main sensor beams at present. Oh geez. Sensors have been impacted. I am restoring now, using that minor action. I will say too, at this moment, everybody can return to their stations. So Patel, you are back at sciences. Shira makes it back into tactical, and Romanov is back in engineering.
Did we have time to take off our EV suits, or are we still in those?
Probably still in EV suits, but you can be without the helmets at least. Maybe the gloves too.
Shira, if you'd like, can you respond to first contact in kind?
Yes, Captain.
Also, I'm rechecking the rules on this, but you also, from their shot, you have lost 1 point of power.
1 point of power as well.
Yep, they have dampening as well with their weaponry, which
engineers can have fun. Okay, right. So our turn then.
The turn is now yours. Yes.
So, does weapons use power?
Weapons, phase cannons use power. Torpedoes do not.
All right. Well,
we got. Okay, so
we got 4 power left, right?
Yeah, we can blast away with phase cannons.
Yeah.
But we also have the missile net thing you deployed?
We do, but that is in case we get nuked. But we do have spare torpedoes. We should have more torpedoes. So you want to do a torpedo? Do a torpedo. You're the weapons.
I'm happy just to fire.
If it affects your
phase.
calculus at all, I'm actually bound to note it is actually a point of power for every effect rolled, so that was 2 points of power you were actually down.
Okay, so we're down to 3 out of 6. Close first. Hold on. So the spatial torpedoes, how much damage do they do? It's 2. Along phase cannons are also 2.
Yep. The difference
they
in
have
damage
no
is
effects.
yeah,
or
neither
quality.
neither side has effects. I will say that the phase cannons, their advantage would be that when they roll, they have 2 plus the ship's security plus the scale of the ship. Torpedoes are more often they only have the ship's security plus their base damage. It is also at this range you would be talking about firing at a difficulty of 4, whereas the phase cannons at this range fire at a difficulty of 2.
Let's go phase cannons then.
Okay.
Okay, right. Let's give you a point of threat for an extra dice. Got shipboard tactical systems as my focus. No talents applied to this. Fire in phases.
Okay. Connolly is going to whip around the ship in order to give you the most optimal phase cannon shot, allowing you to, in a sense, cross the T and take a shot along their hull. With that, 3 successes, you gain a point of momentum back, which we can wait to see how your damage roll goes. But that will be, let's see. Go ahead and roll me damage for the phase cannons and expend the necessary point of power for that.
That's very nice. I don't think.
You do have the versatile quality, which means that for the effect you rolled, you get a point of momentum as well.
That fantastic.
1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of damage. Let's see. They, at a scale 3 ship, much like yourself, will resist 3 of those points.
Do we want to therefore spend just 1 point of momentum to remove
to resistance?
Yeah.
Sure, we can do that.
Okay, that will allow you to pierce through.
So it should mean we inflict a breach on them, and we gain a point of momentum as well.
Let's see. So you have the point of momentum from versatile, which you can just put that back into the piercing roll there. You also have a point of momentum, which we'll wait before we assign. But you are at least scoring a breach, and ooh, that is an 18 on the die there, which for the damage chart means that you have actually hit their weapon systems. So you, as the ship is whipped around, you can't help but notice they have some sort of weapon pods that are to the port side, and you just take a shot right at that. So that is going to score a breach there, impacting their weapon systems. They won't be able to fire right away. You do notice that when the phase cannons connect, they are stopped just a little ways short of the hull. These people have energy shields. Possibly comparable to what the Andorians and Vulcans have.
Good. This sounds wonderful.
Yeah. Now, you have in total 2 momentum right now. Do you want to spend that any other way in terms of space combat?
I would like to maintain our initiative, because fuck them.
we need to restore power because we're low on that.
All right, you can indeed keep the initiative here if you so wish.
Yeah. So we'll spend 2 momentum, and she'll signal engineering. It's the engineering. Romanov, where the hell's my power?
Can I generate some more power?
Yep, you do have a power management task option.
Okay, I'm gonna do that then.
Okay,
And what am I rolling?
I'm going to say this is daring and engineering,
Okay.
which you may it's a difficulty 2 task, but you may succeed at cost if you wish. On your success, the ship gains a point of power plus 1 additional power per momentum spent, of which you
Okay.
have 2. Well, you don't actually have momentum right now, but you could use threat if you so wished.
We're out of momentum. We're all out.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I have electroplasma engineering.
That applies.
Okay, so I am rolling that, daring and engineering.
Yep. 2 successes, so that will allow you to reroute power from non-essential systems in order to gain a point of power. There's no momentum out of that, so any additional power you restore would have to come with a threat cost.
That would be up to the players. Do we want to spend threat to get more power, or is that enough?
How much more power do we get?
1. So we're now at
1
3
per
out of
threat.
6.
Yeah.
So now we're at what?
We're 3 out of 6.
Main power 50%.
For the moment, it'll do. I don't want to give more threat at the current moment.
With that, let's see. They've screamed and they've leapt, so I think that they are going to put just the slightest bit of distance between you on this next task. Give them a difficulty 1 control and con roll, so as to fire up their impulse drive here. And that'll be...
Huh? What?
Ooh.
No.
Ooh. I like. Oh no.
No.
That's only a
Yeah,
5.
bear in mind
Yeah.
it's
Boo.
yeah, the rolls are still weird here. Let me make this visible. So the crew roll was a 5 and a 1. The 0 was a 12, so no complication there. They managed to fire up their impulse drives, and they are going to move up to long range now. Make sure that we have this still centered. So they are just positioning around. They whip themselves to where they have their bow on you, and they are also presently... I'm going to say they've enabled a minor action so that they can restore their weapons. Yeah, turn is now back to you.
All right.
Could we do some sciencey stuff?
Yeah, I can scan for weakness, which will give our next attack piercing and potentially extra damage.
Yeah. How bad are we in terms of stress on this ship?
So you took 4 points of damage to your hull plating, which for our purposes, Crichton at some point probably said, "Sir, his hull plating is down to 60%. We've taken hit on the ventral section, deck 13. Main sensor dome has been affected. Array is being bypassed, though." Basically, the short of it is you took a breach to your sensors, and Steward restored that earlier.
Right.
So you can still use these sensors.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's search for weaknesses.
Okay. So Patel, this is going to be... It starts as a difficulty 1 sensors and science roll, I think, though it may be slightly... Or rather, for you it would be... oh, geez. I think I've copied the space tasks to everybody for their own local handout section.
Yep.
Did I? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
control science difficulty 1, increasing by 1 difficulty per range between close and whatever.
So difficulty 3. However, your advanced sensor suites are going to reduce that to 2. The ship also assists with sensors and security.
And I have technical expertise on my side too.
Yep.
Should that come into play?
Yep. So that's an additional D20 for you on the roll, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a reroll.
Reroll. Copy that. Okay. So.
I'm going to reroll the ship.
Very good. Patel will score 2 successes. With the reroll, the ship will add a third, which will allow you to meet. Patel, your sensor readouts on the ship display a very interesting set of life signs. So, or rather, gives you some interesting readings. The hull was appears to be rigged or configured in such a way that between that and some very selective work with how the warp nacelles are arrayed, how their power layout is otherwise, they are, despite their size, they are generating a subspace field scarcely larger than a small craft, even at this range. It's no wonder you didn't see them come at long range. They have probably been prowling around, waiting to pounce for some time now. You do notice there's also roughly 80 to 90 biosigns. It's a little hard to read out, although you notice that there's a bit of low-level radiation on their ship, suggesting that their tech isn't quite as secure, and B, they are okay with it apparently. But you do identify some signs of weaknesses, segments of the ship that would be vulnerable to attack. In particular, I will note that your analysis also tells you that they have an unusual array of weapon systems, some sort of ionic cannon weaponry that is capable of disrupting power systems. The missile pods also contain, the pods rather on the side of the ship do contain missiles or torpedoes. They are all nuclear armed.
Ooh. Gonna identify a bunch of these targets on my board and swipe them over to Eula's screen.
Yep.
So she has them.
Indeed so. And
did we get any momentum with that, by the way?
You did not. It was a difficulty 3 roll, and you only just met.
Okay.
So, with that, the turn goes back to your Kazinti opponents, and I think that since we are hitting the top of the hour here, would everyone be okay if we run this on a cliffhanger?
I was going to have some fun running this to the very end, but yeah.
Well, I only noticed that we're right at the top here, and I'm not sure how long we want to go with the space combat. Everyone okay with pushing this a little longer?
Yep.
Yeah, fine either way.
Okay. Then let us keep it going then, and we'll ask those of you on the stream, stick with us a bit longer as the thrilling combat continues, and oh boy does it continue. I'm spending 1 point of threat in order to buy an additional D20 here as they make an attack. Okay, that is a 2, a 13, and a 1, which will give them 3 successes. And then the ship will launch. That will be weapons plus security. And they are not expending any power this time. Instead,
they're lobbing a nuke at us.
They're lobbing a salvo, which means 1 for the torpedo, and then 1 for the 1 additional 1 in order to launch many torpedoes. Patel, you and Shira see as you are getting those sensor locks that while the starboard missile pod had taken some damage, the port one is just fine, and it lets loose an array of torpedoes just clouding at you. They are spraying the area with drones, all honing in on the Aegis. and your the tactical sensors start firing up radiological alarms. Um, let's see, they did actually also beat that task by 1, so that means I do get back a point of threat.
Does our field that Mora put up, could that assist you?
It will help here in a moment. I need to roll damage for those torpedoes. That is not correct, because that should be... here, let me get back in here. Torpedo, 2. Try that again. Okay, so that is 4 in total, so I guess... I don't understand why it doesn't want to do this. These new ship sheets are...
Retype it, retype it in, like empty it out and retype in the number.
Okay. Torpedo.
Okay,
2.
that's what I usually do.
Long. Vicious 1. Alright, trying that again.
Nope. Okay, it's being dumb.
Yeah,
We'll
I apologize that it's being dumb. I'm just going to take those first 3 rolls, since that is technically... it would do 6 damage with their 4 security plus the base 2. It is a nuclear weapon, so that is vicious 1 for the effect. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 1 for the vicious 1 effect, and actually, because of torpedo rules here, the salvo adds an extra 2. So yeah, I think I'm going to say that those last 2 are going to count as well. For that adds 1 more effect and 1 more single die. So that is recounting. Whew, that is a salvo of 10 points, conceivably. Go ahead and
so
using the Aegis, the Aegis's like torpedo network might be able to intercept some of it. So give me a roll of 2 challenge dice, please.
I'll roll it. I got an effect.
Okay, with that effect, that is going to one of the torpedoes I think is going to miss, but the other will knock into one, going up in a great inferno. But other drones, other missiles have managed to evade and are still closing distance. Connolly's like 20,000, 10,000,
Brace.
5,000 kilometers. Everyone holds into position as this horrendous sensation of the nukes like smashing into the primary hull or stopping just short before detonating start going off. There's the bright effect of like the light just completely engulfing the screen as the interior of the ship shakes around and steam starts coming out. Sparks and explosions start going around just as a matter of absorbing this attack. Let's see. The torpedo took 1 point of that damage away. The Aegis is, just by virtue of it being a scale 3 ship, able to take away another 3, but that is 6 points of stress, if I'm not mistaken, which will still damage the hull plating. And
Hull plating is now gone.
okay, so that is going to be 2 breaches to the hull then. So I have to roll there, and that is an 18 and an 8. Yeah, hull plating depolarizes, and that will do another point. 18 is a point of damage to the, or that is a breach on the weapons, while an 8 is another breach to sensors, which means both systems have been impacted. However, the sensors are now considered damaged. The difficulty to use them has now increased by 2, and the effect to the difficulty to repair the damage effect is now 3. Weapons cannot presently be used until a restore action has been undertaken. So these, like Creighton starts echoing off damage reports, basically. Sir, damage reports coming in now. Main sensor dome hit once more. Crews are reporting that some of the hardware's been shorted out by secondary EM waves. Hull plating kept out the most of it. Tactical teams teams down in the armory report that auto loaders have momentarily gone offline, attempting to restore. You do, however, now, I will say, while 3 of you have acted at this point, the ship, or your opponent's ship, has actually run out of turns that they can take this round. I had recently verified rules, and basically every player on the ship is allowed to take a role, basically. Or like each of you are allowed to take a turn so that, the player characters can all have their desired effect, either through their main character or a supporting character.
Okay.
So it's Sorol and the captain and Lambert who still need to go.
Sorol could probably try to help restore weapons. Or some other function.
Do we want him near the weapons, though? We're at a critical juncture now.
For the moment, I'm willing to acquiesce.
You assume that Sorol is not already in your weapons.
That's also that's also the yes.
Haven't you noticed the healthy green glow of your weapons? I'm trying to think if I can come up with anything particular that Sorol could do, but I could also, just in quotation marks, just try to restore some damaged system.
Well, we've got absolutely no hull plated. We've got only 50% power. Our weapons are offline. Our sensors are offline. So you've got a choice of things to do here.
What do we need? This is literally, tell him what you need.
We need hull plating and we need weapons.
Well, the plating is literally gone, so I don't. Can we even fix that?
Yes,
it's not like the energy
hull plating.
Yeah, but is the polarization gone, or is literally the plating gone?
If it's the plating that was gone, then we'd all be breathing vacuum.
Some decks probably.
Okay, just quick updates there. So far as weapons being knocked out for a moment, that's just an impact. That can be remediated by the minor action restore. So any of you can say that was done, basically, and you can get weapons back. The only damaged system, strictly speaking, is sensors, which requires a difficulty 3 task to repair.
Yeah,
and hull plating.
Oh yeah,
can we repair hull plating?
Hull plating can be treated as shields. It can be restored by the, I believe it is an engineering task, generally speaking. Let me just reopen that here. Let's see, engineering and internal systems. Restore hull plating. The officer routes power to hull polarizers, trying to replenish them. Power requirement of 1. It requires a control and engineering task with a difficulty 1, assisted by the ship structures and engineering. The difficulty does increase if the hull plating is at 0. And if successful, the ship regains 2 points of hull plating plus 2 more for each momentum spent. So, in essence, you actually you can restore power to the hull polarizers. It's just going to be difficulty 2 engineering, control and engineering with the ship's structure and engineering help, and it does expend power. Also, one other point of just housekeeping. I had drawn a threat earlier that I realized I should not have, so I'm going ahead and just putting that back in the pool. Nice. Because there were 2 attack rolls in the same combat, in the same turn or round for the Kzinti, their torpedo shot was done at difficulty 4. They did clear that with their 3 from the ship crew roll and the ship's own roll, but I just don't take threat, basically. So that's all.
Fair. And we also have no momentum, right?
You are
we have
presently
no
out of
momentum.
momentum, yes.
This is brilliant.
Actually, how about-
Thrall is thriving. I was think. Okay, go ahead.
I was just saying, threat is free. Mora
Yeah.
doesn't have an action. She's running like hell for the armory to try to help out with those torpedoes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think since Soral would try to polarize the hull,
Yeah.
that seems paramount. And I mean, to be honest, technically, while I'm in the energy systems, I can expend a minor action to get the weapons back online. So that was control engineering, right?
Yes. So, Saral, you enter an engine room that is presently in chaos, with Romanov attempting to get orders around and working to keep the power systems that have been fluctuating online. As she does this, you make your way over to one of the auxiliary controls and start reviewing systems. You find that there's a command error basically with the weapon systems. You make the necessary corrections very quickly, and then start tending to the hull plating system. So you may roll control and engineering, assisted by the ship's structure and engineering, difficulty 2.
Difficulty 2. So, focus troubleshooting.
I will allow that.
Fantastic. And I would like to use my determination for an auto crit.
What value would you be invoking here?
I would like to invoke. It's actually quite difficult to find one that fits here, but it's hard to fail, but it's worse never to have tried to succeed.
Yeah, it would be worse in this case. You're very much right.
Yes. It's more philosophical, but in this case, it's very literal.
Yeah. Practical philosophy is good.
Yeah. And I would buy a die with threat.
I will graciously accept your D20. This is
I don't like giving you threat, but also I want to get some hull plating back.
Fair enough. All right.
I'm procrastinating clicking the button. Here goes nothing.
Saral scores 2 successes, which will meet. The ship can also assist with structure and engineering.
I'll take care of that.
Okay.
Thank
Got that. Structure and engineering. Yep. Let's go. There
One
we go.
additional success, so that is
Excellent.
momentum. That will, you do lose
Plus
a
the
point
auto
of power with
crit?
that. Yes. Oh yes, that's right. The auto crit. So that is actually 3 successes over what was needed. So, Saral, 2 points of hull plating come back on. You invoke the troubleshooting. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? And stupidly, that works.
So does that restore 5 hull plating then?
So it would be 2 points at the base value, plus 2 more for every momentum that you wish to spend here. You have taken in 3 points of momentum.
We have full control for the rest of the turn, so spend it.
Weapons are online again. We have 3 momentums. We should keep some momentum for whoever rolls next.
So spend 2, keep 1, and
spend 2 more momentum, which brings us up to
6.
Yep. 6 hull plating.
Yep.
Leaving us with 1 momentum.
Yep.
Yes, and then I would shout that over comms to the bridge. Hulls repolarized, weapons online.
Yep. You get
Thank you,
Saral's
Saral.
Yep. And
You've
Shira
earned your
hull
purple
plating.
today.
Shira hull plating restores itself over 50% and or back up to 60%, and yeah, the turn is still yours.
Hull
What can the
plating is at
doctor do?
200%. This can't be good.
What can the doc do?
Very good question. So Lambeth, as people are starting to come in from around the ship with signs of different sort of injuries. A lot of it is like some of them are more blunt force sort of things. They got knocked around or were maybe a bit close to a exploding panel. There are signs that some people have taken some radiation burns. Um, you have the technical task of, while you're in sick bay, you can respond to casualties where, let's see, you can choose a single department, attempt a daring and medicine task rather, with a difficulty of 2, assisted by the ship's computers and medicine, and if you succeed on this task, the department that you choose gets to re-roll a d20. So
Okay, right. So I just go over that again. It's I do a medicine check, and the department I choose gets a bonus d20.
That they get to re-roll a d20. So basically,
Yes.
you're helping either engineers or tactical officers or something like that, and by by performing some medicine work, you get them back to their stations and able to respond, and that lets them be sharp enough to re-roll.
Okay.
So, once again, that is daring and medicine for you.
Daring medicine, got it.
Which department would you like to help?
Who needs help? Do we think?
Well,
does anyone particularly want to reroll?
I mean,
if engineering probably needs help.
Say engineering or weapons? Like engineering for now or weapons for when we return fire?
Yeah, engineering or security. I think security probably. That's my vote.
Okay, I'll go security then.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
with those 2 successes, that is enough to respond. Somebody can roll computers and medicine from the ship as well. So just that single d20 there. Whoever has the sheet open,
I'll do it.
I'd say just keep it.
Somebody else is doing it already. All right.
Yeah, somebody just keep that ship minimized and be ready to roll on those.
Somebody moved over to computers, so computers
and medicine.
Medicine.
Hey, well done, ship.
Okay, that was just to double check. That was that security or engineering? I have already forgotten. I apologize.
Security.
Okay. Lambeth, you catch an armory officer in the purple, the bluish purple, like Enterprise style jumpsuit, with a very nasty burn along their arms. Something with a bit of shrapnel that cut into it. Damn console blew up in my face, Doc. Well, more like to my side. Am I gonna lose it?
Probably not. I'll admit my bedside manner might need a bit of work today, but we're gonna get you to keep that arm as long as you can.
Okay. And yeah, in the time that he's struggling with the idea of that, you've repaired the wound, administered an analgesic, and I don't know, a little stimulant to give him some pep in his step. Oh,
got it. Gotta love that.
I'm just gonna go. And he runs out of the sick bay.
Thank you very much. Come again sometime. Hopefully not too soon.
Yep.
He's now on a caffeine high.
Yeah, he's practically running up the walls, and that's partly to do with the artificial gravity now fluctuating. Let's see, who else still needs to act?
I do.
Yep.
And then I think that is everybody for us.
Yep.
For player-wise.
Yep.
Well, I am a captain.
You have the option to direct. You can attempt to rally people and get some momentum going.
Direct.
I think we've got
direct is just a free assist to somebody, right?
Yeah, but I think that you can basically hand over your turn to somebody in the process and then give them a free assist.
All right. Yeah, let's she'll say Shira, let's show who's exactly the hunters in this part of space, shall we? And yeah, I'll direct to fire phasers, or fire some phasers at the Kazinti.
Okay.
Maybe torpedoes.
Torpedoes works just fine too.
Actually, what
the
range
difficulty
are we
would
at?
you are presently at long range, which does make the phase cannons would be at a difficulty of 4 at this range.
Oh,
Yeah.
The torpedoes are at a difficulty of 3. However, with the let's see, with the scan for weakness task being applied, let's see. Okay, that just you haven't done anything that would reduce the difficulty of your task. Just basically added some effects, and if you spend bonus d20s for that attack, then they will add damage as well. So conceivably, say you wanted to try and give the GM some threat to buy the additional stuff for the attack, or you wanted to, well, I don't know, determination would be kind of weird in this case.
I am going to spend my Spirit Discovery and use my determination right now to give 2 extra momentum. The current moment.
How much momentum are we on?
We should be at 1, but I'm going to add 2 additional more, and I have a challenge die roll.
Okay, so that'll work for veteran.
No.
Okay, so yeah. Oh, that's right. With the earlier ship roll, you gained momentum. You have 2 points from Spirit of Discovery, so you now have 3 points of momentum, which could be used to buy additional dice if you want to stick to that phaser order.
I think torpedoes would probably be a better.
All right.
Okay.
Yep.
And I have to make a control or presence and command.
Yep. So, Shira, this will be a control plus security roll for you. Difficulty of 3.
No. God damn it.
The captain is complicated here. So that'll come into play if. All right, you roll 3 successes.
I forgot to say I gave you a threat for an extra dice there.
Okay, for bold security. Copy that. So, sequence of events.
I'm gonna take 2 momentum. We're not. No.
Copy that.
No, that.
So
I use my Spirit Discovery, but really I just use this to get rid of my.
Yep. So here's the sequence of events. Sharp has ordered Shira to launch an attack via torpedoes. Shira, you managed to succeed at the task. The captain tried to assist you with that order, but she complicated. We've just bought that off with 2 points of momentum, bringing you down to 1 momentum currently in your pool.
That's the ship roll in for the attack as well.
The ship adds 1 point of momentum back, so that will give you 2 points. Brian, you only need to drop 1 of those points of momentum. And that will be enough for your spatial torpedoes to hit the Kazinti vessel. Now, Shira, are you firing a salvo or are you firing a single torpedo?
What's the difference here?
I believe that a salvo will add 2 points or 2 challenge dice to your normal torpedo shot.
Okay.
At the cost of,
like, in a threat.
Interesting.
I'm rechecking those rules very quickly. Okay. So, let's see. Firing a salvo adds 3 points of threat actually instead of 1, but increases the attack damage by 1 for every effect rolled. That's the actual thing. It also grants the spread effect to the attack. This is on spread basically. That will allow you to I think that damage is basically cut in half, and for every basically. I'm sorry. Effects are like it's been a little while since I've dealt with spread in particular, but basically I think it does effectively half damage or damage equal to the effects on top of that, and it impacts a different system. So still subject to like resistance and stuff, but basically you fire off a bunch of torpedoes and many of them hit instead of just one.
So we should be trying to go for lots of effects, though, right? Because I mean, with the scan for weakness, the more effects we have, the better we pierce, basically. And then there was another effect on effects, right?
Yeah. The scan for weakness adds a whole nother advantage here.
I almost want to go. Like, I'm personally, this is me being a player, not me being the captain. But I think honestly, like probably spread would be better. It take the threat, but at the same time,
well,
like we could one and done this.
So, would you like to give the GM 3 threat for a salvo, or just fire a single torpedo and take 1 threat?
Oh, let's go salvo. Why not?
Okay. Shira, you unleash a salvo of torpedoes, and I will say just, give me that damage roll if you please. All right.
It's only 4?
2 plus the ship's security, it should be.
2 plus the ship security. Yeah, okay, fair.
So those effects.
Right, yeah, because
that will be.
Are.
So those effects, first off, give you, let's see, 2 points of. Sorry, rechecking my torpedoes. So those effects have +2 damage, or add 2 damage first off. So that is a total of 6 points you're doing there. With the sensor scan or rather with your scan for weakness, those effects also both mean that both effects have piercing 2, so that will cut through any resistance that they have.
Oh, nice.
You also purchase bonus d20s on the attack, right?
Yep, so that will add 1 additional damage. So you are doing, with that first attack, 7 points of damage that will not be resisted. That is enough to cause a breach to the vessel.
What was the effect of the captain's directive again, or did that not happen?
The captain basically got to
assistant roll, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is that's going to be a 5 there. And
and the doctor's tactical buff too.
Oh yes, that means that you can re-roll. I think if you wanted to re-roll one of your d20s there, that could come into play.
Yeah. Might as well see if we can get that to flip over.
Technically, I think meant to just apply to the ship, but I'll be generous here.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I'm not going to re-roll the ship's one.
Yep.
Hey.
All right.
Hey.
So there's another point of momentum on the board. I will tell you that Shira, your torpedo barrage has managed to hit very strategic locations. The sustained barrage has managed to mostly just blast through weak points where the shields were cycling through. They are still presently up, but you have managed to break through a considerable bit of their defenses, and indeed you've fired off enough torpedoes to where they're taking some pretty serious damage. They've also, in particular, damaged one of the warp nacelles pretty badly, so they are venting some plasma.
We could spend another momentum and do more.
Yes, there is the devastating attack option for 2 points of momentum. There is also bonus damage for 1 point of momentum per point of damage. I'll give you 2 would drop their shields and score another breach.
That would be useful.
Yep, so devastating attack or the 2 points for bonus damage would have practically the same effect right now.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you pick there.
I just like the sound of devastating. Just sounds cooler.
Fair enough, fair enough. And then let me review one more thing here is where we're doing that. So everyone okay with the idea of devastating attack?
Yep.
Okay. So I will roll up one additional d20 here. That is going to be a hit to structure, which I have to roll a challenge die. Well, you just start seeing secondary explosions along the the midship section. Atmosphere is venting, compartments are decompressurizing, or depressurizing, or decompressing. That's what I'm thinking. And yes, you see like dozens of very satisfying bits of damage occur. So then, I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out what spread. Okay, so if one or more effects is rolled, the attack inflicts an additional hit to a random system, which inflicts stress up to half the initial hit, rounding up, increasing the damage of 1 per effect rolled. Okay, so the way I'm going to treat this, I will still allow all the effects that were in play from that last damage roll. I'm going to cut in half, rounded down, so that would be 3 points of stress plus 2 more damage from the salvo will make it 5 points. That will pierce through all the basically their resistance. So a second, that means that that will deal another 2 breaches, because not only have you managed to effectively hit those weak points, but you collapse their shields as well now. And all of that is going to mean even more engine damage. Their engines are now actually properly in a damaged category. And you have also disrupted their computer systems, I believe. Or no, 2, that would be... 2 is computers.
Excellent work, Shira.
So just a mass scale of damage. And now turn order cycles back. The round has ended, so we start afresh. It's your turn to start with, actually.
Cool.
Okay.
I would like to.
Right.
So they are smoking. They are they're barely existent of a ship right now, right?
They are pretty badly scarred. Don't get me wrong, they could take a lot of punishment still, and if they get their shields back up, if that's their thing, they could possibly take more. They also, their weapons are impacted, but their weapons haven't taken another breach, so they could still deal a pretty nasty blow. You have been trading haymakers here, and you've solar plexused each other, where you land the punch right under the rib cage, and it goes in deep. You're bloodied up, but your fists are both up, and you could seriously still hurt each other.
All right. I would like to try this again, and I'm going to order Shira cripple their weapons.
That is a direct order from the captain for Shira to make an attack, which with torpedoes, that would be a difficulty 3 roll. Phase cannons difficulty 4.
Yeah.
And actually, since it's the targeting of a specific weapon system, that also adds the difficulty.
If you can. let's shoot it. Just shoot the damn thing. We'll hit something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Let's fire a torpedo.
All right. The GM will take 1 point of threat. Are you targeting weapons?
I don't trust myself to hit a difficulty 4.
And you are assisted by the captain and the ship's weapons and security.
Right.
That's
So,
one.
Sharp will roll 1 assist. You do still have your value, I believe, Shira.
Yeah.
If that affects
See.
your calculation.
Oh,
If you use your value, then the difficulty becomes only 1.
that is true, isn't it?
Yep. You can also spend for bold security.
I could do it all. Okay, all right. Let's have. Let's spend a value. Proud daughter of Andoria. She does not like being beaten up by a bunch of yuggies. So she will. Yeah. Damn little cat creatures.
Shira
No.
ain't a scared.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll use that for the automatic
Critical
2
success.
successes thing. Yeah, that's
Yep.
the thing.
Right.
Okay. I'll give you a point of threat for the
Bold security.
bold security and fire. Very nice.
Okay, that
Ooh.
is another 4 successes, and the ship also assists with weapons and security. No help from the ship, but that is still 7 on the board, so that would well clear the difficulty 4 to hit their weapons. So yeah, their shields are still not up, so roll me a torpedo hit. It really doesn't matter what you roll. Actually,
Torpedo.
you don't even have to do that.
Okay.
But either way, those spatial torpedoes are actually a medium range weapon. We've been running it long. That's fine. Don't worry about it. In any case, that torpedo will sail out and collide with the other, not quite hitting the other weapons pod, but hitting one of the wings and cause secondary sort of plasma fires that will specifically breach and set their weapons to damaged. They can now only use them at an increased difficulty of 3.
Nice.
Or rather, the difficulty increases by 2 for them to attack.
Haha.
So,
How much momentum did we get out of that?
from that one, from
Because
that particular roll, you gained 3 points of momentum.
Cool. Excellent.
Okay.
That brings up to 3 because we didn't get rid of the last 2.
Oh, that's right. So I guess, yeah, I'll deal you 1, Brian. Here, save you the trouble. All right. Before I do anything, did the players want to? Well, actually, keeping the initiative only works if there haven't been like successive player moves, or 2 successive player moves. So the Khazinti are going to act next. They are. Let's see, as badly damaged as they are. You can imagine a bit of the internal monologue that happens here.
The hint, you stupid furballs.
It's like the captain is just pointing at the screen. We get beaten up by that?
Question. Momentum.
Oh no!
Momentum is where it should be.
There's probably a promotion going on in the ship right now.
No, the captain was just rolling to see how he figures, and boy, does he figure scream and leap, which I need to roll high being high severity, low being, let's see how crazy he is. Okay, he's not that crazy. Not gonna lie, ramming speed was a possibility.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, yeah, do it.
No,
Yeah.
don't do it.
They are going to drop 1 point of. Well, let's see. They're dropping a point of power, which they're already kind of bleeding out from the engine's losses. But first, they're going to spend just to try and. Actually, no. They're going for the. They're closing in on you first, or trying to. So they now have to engage a difficulty 3 impulse task, which the crew is enough to meet, and they will be able to close that distance, giving the GM back a point of threat. I'm going to spend that with one from my pool to keep the initiative. They close the distance with you, and they are. Let's see. They still have a difficulty 2 task, or rather, a difficulty 4 task in order to attack with their weapons here. So let's see if they can still clear that. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, wait, wrong systems there. Let me re-roll that. Or would that have worked? No, that still wouldn't work.
No, it wouldn't work.
They attempt a strafing run on you. Their targeting sensors are misaligned now by 15 degrees, and they fire just kind of off your bow, basically.
I have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Grapple the Tellarite ship. Use it as a baseball bat. Because they've lined themselves up absolutely beautifully.
Connolly just looks at you. Do you want to throw a ship at another ship?
She just smiles. You remind me of certain officer, Lieutenant. She looks over to Patel.
What are you looking at me for, Captain?
I grapple cables. Yes, they're a close thing, so we're right in range of that, aren't we?
You are. Yes.
Out of character, what would this maneuver be?
So this
it's
would
weapons,
be,
essentially.
Yeah, control plus security with a difficulty of 2. And then it would be actually Connolly having to do something with thrusters, or more likely impulse engines, in order to in order to pull the freighter into the Kzinti's path.
Yeah. And I just realized I was thinking, oh well, we already did share it, but no, we didn't. I did. I pseudo activated you, but used my token.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yep.
Shorter.
Yeah. She's Conley, prepare to fire the starboard impulse engine.
Aye, sir.
Shira, you're up to bat, she says.
I love it.
Okay, right. Yes, so again, give you a point of threat for an extra dice. Yeah, yep. That one can go away with my bold security.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh.
5 successes.
Yep. The ship can assist with structure and security.
I'll use it. Structure security.
Yep.
Structure security. And boop.
Okay, no help there, but with 5 successes, that's 3 points of momentum, 2 of which I guess will go to keep the initiative here in a moment. You fire out the grapplers and manage to get a firm lock on the ship as the limping Kzinti vessel trying to get into a position to attack you is making its close optimal pass. The moment Shira reports that everything is together, Conley says, "Impulse on standby, sir."
Wait for it. Now, max impulse, she says. Everyone brace.
That's Daring Con, which will give him 1 more point there. Let me re-roll that for you. Oh, wait.
Please spend a point of momentum, because I got plenty of momentum.
We have plenty of momentum.
So I'll give it an extra d20 plus that 0 there would have that was a 15 on the second die roll. The ship will also help with engines on con, 1 more point of power. And
con. Yes.
Oh, well done, Aegis.
At 4 successes, Connolly whips the ship hard to port, dragging the freighter along with it. Torque, the essence of torque, straining the grappler as it pulls the freighter in. The Kzinti realize only too late as the freighter cuts across, bits of hull fragments coming off the desperately wounded ship. They try to dodge trying to go under it or alter their course hard to starboard and evading it, but they are not fast enough as that thing gets pulled at nearly a quarter the speed of light, and the freighter cuts across the midsection of the ship, going up and like just crunching, slicing away at different parts of hull. I'm just gonna roll up 3 systems to reflect that how bad the situation is for them. It shears off the starboard missile pod as a fragment of the cargo container goes off. It cuts the ship like thoroughly amidships and just sends plasma and spraying atmosphere out of the ship. There's probably some Kazunti among it. This thing, you pretty much broke its back here, leaving them powerless and as adrift as they had left the Tellarite freighter.
Crichton, send him hail what's left of the Kazunti ship, please.
Opening a channel now, sir. And let me shift us back to the bridge. Channel open, Captain.
She takes a moment, takes a deep breath, recollects herself, thinking for a moment. This is the hunter captain of the SS Aegis. You have violated my hunting grounds and the hunting grounds of my own tribe and clan. Before I decide to feast upon what remains of your crew and to grow my litter, I give you the chance to amend yourself and explain your gross violation.
On the visual ahead, with it goes from the screen of the burnt and broken Kazunti vessel to a bridge barely lit save for sparks and fires in the background as a felinoid figure greets you, his face hard with the determined look of an enraged animal, one very much cornered. Hunter Captain, I am Vaish Captain. You win this day and we will allow you your quarry. You have earned it. He clutches his side. No, you have the attention of Pride Stucker now. Whoever you are.
She stands up slowly, firmly, and the sort of stance that comes with being a Mako and understanding, to some extent, the more simplicities of, taller and demonstration of power means a lot. Even though she's like 5'5", 5'6". Yeah. She does not blink. As she just simply says, you are in your combat. You have, certainly proved yourself to be a suitable feast. I instead get more use out of you by telling the rest of your clan to know their place and to not tread upon these hunting grounds again unless permitted. If you need repairs, I can give it. But understand that we are not prey, she says.
You'll just be met with that sort of determined look of anger, but at the same time something of impotence, as his ship is in no condition to put up a further fight, and
She maintains eye contact until he looks away.
He'll just give it a simple single nod and then pound his command chair to hit the off button and thus clear the screen. Kzinti vessel appears to be heaving. Rather, this would be Connolly. The seems like they're heaving too, Captain. I think that's their way of saying. I don't know. They submit. I think we're good.
She sits back down. Let's look our own wounds, but keep a close eye. She looks over.
We do still have engine power. I could probably get us out at warp 2.
Out of character, just 1 second. My robot thought that I was talking to her. But no. Wait here a moment. Let's make sure that they understand that we're not running from them.
All right. So time will elapse. They will eventually be able to start limping away on very low thrusters, but their ship is a pretty badly beaten hulk, and they will leave us. Yeah.
I would like to have us fall at extreme distance, sensor range, just as if we're going to make sure, and then for about 4 hours, and then just drift off.
Okay. So with that, we'll allow for that time to pass, and for I would even be willing to say, unless you have anything further that you wish to do here, we can jump ahead to after you have done that, and the Aegis is back at warp, getting back out into normal space. Would anyone want to do anything before then? Seeing none? Okay. Then we will just cut ahead to later, where the Aegis is out at warp. You're starting to conduct more in-depth repairs, particularly to the main sensors now. After running back out into normal space, let's trying to find a good ship shot for us here. Let's just let's just theater of the mind this for here. Does anybody have a particular last scene that they would want? I suppose for additional setup. We'll say that this is probably by the next day, where you have seen no further sensor contacts. Word has come in from Tellarite Command that the message was received and acknowledged. They can have a ship to rendezvous with you in a couple days, and if you have passengers or any word on the freighter, then they would accept it.
Yeah, I would write a report, send it to Tellar Prime, and let them know that we have passengers that they I need to picking up.
Yep.
With discussing with the Tellarites, I would like to know about why did the Kzinti show up here? This is far from them.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Like, did they just randomly show up? Have they been showing up here frequently?
Okay. Let me check real quick. Anybody else have a scene that they want to do before we close out here? Because I think that this might be maybe having Patel in here and Tellarite. That could be one scene here, just in case you want to do any last-minute chatting about what happened.
Sure. I mean, I'm also conscious of time. I don't want to delay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, we should be conscious. That's true. Sorry.
Yeah. All right, so we can, if nobody else has a thing, then we'll just make this a quick sort of closing out type thing. And what we will do is that we will set things up with, I'm just moving Thryg's token in here now. And, sorry, Patel, that's where he is. Okay, he's a little bit larger. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your patience here. All right. So yeah, sometime later, the Aegis whooshes by, moving along at warp speed, and arrives on course for that rendezvous. Thryg, the technical officer, who after some extensive surgery is now up and standing, albeit a little bit faint, is repeating her offer, or rather repeating thanks as she has given it many times.
You
I
should sit down, Throg. Please.
certainly. I don't know whether we would have made it without you, Captain. I appreciate what you and your fellow Earthers and even that Andorian did. And there was a Vulcan too. This is quite an assemblage you have here, Captain. Not one I would have thought functional.
It was a diversity hire.
If anything, it's a hope for a better future, Throg.
It is strange and terrifying to see the Kzinti again after so long. They were the first hostile force we encountered out in space during our initial explorations. It's been nearly 80 years since we've had contact with them, and our first warships of a sort were the ones that engaged them, and after we'd beaten off their original set of raiders, they'd just left us alone for a time. We weren't expecting to see them again, or we've always, I guess, been on guard, but in other threats, no insult to your Andorian, or the Vulcan either, but there have been other pressing concerns.
She just nods. Still, it's curious to see a nomad ship this far out. If anything, from my understanding of rumors out here in the space, they should be on the other side of your territory. Is that not true?
Yeah. We always suspected that they were somewhere coreward, or perhaps further out in the rim, relative to still a ways out up the Orion arm, but I don't know. I am deeply troubled, and I hope Space Command responds properly. It's also probably wise, Captain, that you let your own ships and colonies know. If the Kzinti are back out here to raid once more, then that's a problem for everyone.
She nods.
Well, if you don't have anything else to ask me, Captain, I think I need a bit more rest. I'm also the senior-most person in my crew's command staff, and I have some letters I need to start writing.
You can speak to Mr. Crichton for help in sending those letters.
Thank you. Thank you all.
When this has been the first time in 80 years, or has the raids been increasing?
This is the first anyone's heard of the Kzinti in that time.
I see. All right. Mr. Patel, do you have any questions?
He just shakes his head wordlessly.
Yeah. So with that,
Thank you. She gets up and, just escorts her out the door.
Yep. So
she'll look back to Patel and sigh. When Viceni and I, or whenever we saw a stray Kzinti back when I was undercover, usually Viceni would kill them on the spot, but they never showed up in these numbers before.
Do you think it has something to do with the war between the Vulcans and Andorians somehow? Stirring the nest?
Maybe. But she shakes her head. This far out? They always spread out. From what I've heard, they've always spread out. Every young new son of the Kzinti would try to make their own claims, hunting or otherwise, out here. And as I said before, some would even literally hunt. But this is far from any of the supposed areas that they usually prowl. Certainly something to notify Starfleet and any other power out here. Anyone who listen. The Kzinti are not someone to trifle with. And hopefully we don't have to encounter them anytime sooner. See to it that Crichton sends a word through subspace.
And will do, Captain.
All right. with that, Patel will go out to the bridge and carry out those orders, and Colonel, you are left with the rather disconcerting notion of yet another hostile threat out here in the deep wilds of space. Of everything else you've seen and of everything else that has gone wrong, there are lions out here in the night. And I think that is where we will close off for tonight's episode. So I'd like to say first to my players, thank you for sticking it out for an extra long session here as it came out. And thank you, everyone in the audience, for sticking around. But yeah, we will close off the recording here and have we'll come back with a new episode come next weekend. So we hope that you enjoyed tonight. We hope you join us, and we'll see you around.